Go ahead and cancel that out for me, please. We are going to go ahead and get started here in just a moment. Keep tapping the screen. Go ahead and get the likes up to 25,000 likes. Let's get the shares up to 50 shares. Do all the wonderful things. And if you are interested in actually joining the panel, go ahead and request up. All right. We are going to go ahead and get started here. First and foremost, we have Daisy. Hey, Daisy, or Rhea. Which one would you prefer? Rhea or Daisy?
Daisy was like my spam account name. My actual
Okay.
name is Rhea.
Okay, Rhea, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Rhea, simple question to start. How are you feeling about this Trump administration on a scale from 1 to 10?
Every time I listen to my daily podcasts, I feel more and more depressed.
Ooh, that's tough. Okay. All right. Give me 1 second here. Not Sarah. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful. Not Sarah. How are you feeling? Is this just Sarah?
Yes.
Why is it not Sarah?
It's an inside joke with my friends.
Okay. Sarah, how are you feeling about this Trump administration on a scale from 1 to 10?
As I keep learning more and more about what is going on, I am just surprised that a lot of Trump supporters haven't opened their eyes, especially the ones that are so against, as I thought, against all the things he's doing, but they're excusing him for what he's doing. Like, it's crazy how people are not opening their eyes yet.
Absolutely. Perfect. Give me 1 second here. We love Gene. How are you?
I'm good. I made like eclairs today in my class.
Okay. How did that turn out?
Hold on. Can I show you a picture of it?
Sure, go ahead. Okay. But how do they taste?
Good. They taste really
Okay.
good.
Okay. All right. Perfect. How are you feeling on a scale from 1 to 10 about this Trump administration?
That's hard. I just want to move to a different country.
Oof. I understand.
On a different planet.
I listen, I get it. Perfect. Give me 1 second here. Elliot, how are you, my friend?
Doing all right. How are you, man?
Wonderful. Elliot, how do you feel on a scale from 1 to 10 about this Trump administration so far?
Mad trash. Mad
Ooh,
trash.
okay. So 1?
Yeah, I guess it's the lowest we can go.
Okay. Perfect. All right. And H. Ruckers, how are you this evening, my friend?
Doing good. How are you?
Wonderful. H. Ruckers, how are you feeling about this Trump administration on a scale from 1 to 10?
On a scale of 10, I'm feeling like it's a negative 666.
Ooh, that does not sound good, friend. That does not sound good at all. All right, perfect. Give me 1 second here. All right, guys. So we have a box full of people who are not necessarily excited about the direction that this the country is heading under this Trump administration. Actually, I see one person that I want to get in for sure. And I know where this person stands. But if you are in the request, or you are someone that's excited about the direction that the country is heading, that's happy, that's excited about the direction the country is heading under this Trump administration, go ahead and request up, or either drop a me in the request, and I will bring you in. We have a box full of people that aren't necessarily excited, and I want to make sure that I can actually balance this out a little bit. So make sure that if you are Ryan, you are awesome. I will get you right in, Ryan. Perfect. Is there anyone else that's excited about the direction that Matt, you are as well? All right, Matt, I will get you in as well. All right, Ryan, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, friend. How are you?
Wonderful. Ryan, on a scale to 1 to 10, how excited are you about the this current Trump administration?
I'd say I'm currently around a 6.
Ooh, that's a little bit above average. So just to actually verify, did you vote for Trump?
Yes, I did.
Okay. All right. And so when you voted for him, where were you?
Probably around a 6.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So not much has changed for you at the moment.
No, not yet. I think it's too
Okay.
early. Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Give me 1 second here, friend. Matt, how are you?
What's up, man? How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Matt, on a scale from 1 to 10, how excited are you about this current Trump administration?
I'll go about a 6 as well.
Ooh, okay. And did you vote for Trump?
I did.
Okay. And when you voted for Trump, what were you?
I'll go with an 8.
Okay. So real quick, what shifted for you? Just high level, if you don't mind.
Specifically, one thing that's been kind of getting me pissed off is the release of the Epstein files and the JFK files. That was a big one with transparency. I mean, he's
I
still
get
got
it.
time. He's still got time for that, but as we've seen so far, he hasn't really been transparent about that stuff.
Yep, no, I completely understand. All right, perfect. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started here, guys. If you all could please keep tapping the screen. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 50,000 likes. Let's get the shares up to 100 shares. Also, what up YouTube? What up Twitch? I see that we are watching over on YouTube and we are watching on Twitch. Just to verify, YouTube, Twitch, can you guys hear the sound? Drop something in the chat for me to let me know that you guys can hear the sound, that everything is coming through good on the YouTube and Twitch side. We're going to go ahead and get going here. So a couple of things that I want to actually call out. First and foremost, I want to make sure this is information for the panel. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. MBM, the safe space. I'm so sorry. You know what it is? I didn't introduce you because I was like, I know who that is. And then I came back around. Okay. MBM. How are you? And what is your excitement level for this Trump administration on a scale from 1 to 10?
Sorry, I couldn't unmute. Yeah, my scale is negative as well, but if I had to pick on the scale, 1 for sure. And as far as like, me, as far as what I'm, like excited for, I guess it has nothing to do with Trump. I may have an interview with Gabe Alamont, the special elections Florida person.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it's kind of like all the effort that I'm putting in is paying off as far as like what I'm doing to try to build the community.
That is absolutely awesome. Awesome. All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. Just a couple of quick things, couple of quick reminders, guys. Please, for the people on the panel, please be mindful of TikTok friendly language. What does that mean? That means using words like unalive, mustache man, C19, pew pew, those type of things that not only protect the live, but also protect your TikTok. Also, please remember that we don't do any of the isms here. Sexism, wait, I'm sorry. It's been a whole week. I've been off. I apologize. We don't do any of the phobias, homophobia, transphobia, none of that. We also don't do any of the isms, sexism, racism, classism, none of it. We don't participate in any of that on the panel, nor in the comments. And speaking of the comments, guys, please remember, caps are for mods. And what does that mean? That means that thank you for the sub, Sarah. Caps are for mods. So that means that please do not use caps, because caps will draw my attention away from the panel and to the chat. And I want to be able to make sure that we are able to have these conversations. With that being said, just a couple of quick things, guys. Debbie's in the chat for Christopher. Christopher sent a $5 donation saying, test. Although the days were off, nice to see, and I'm back. Although the days off were nice and I rested this time, it's looking like we're back. It's always wonderful to see you doing your thing. Let's get to it, dog. Love you. Christopher, I love you so much. Thank you so much for that donation. Debbie's in the chat for Maddie. Maddie sent a dollar donation saying, for educating the Dingleberry supporters. Listen, somebody got to do it, right? Thank you so much for that dollar donation. You are absolutely too kind, guys. Thank you so much. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. If you enjoy the information, education, entertainment, please consider donating. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. So let's go ahead and get started here. So, I want to open this up, right? And as you guys can see, it's astounding, right? The Trump administration is failing us, right? And I'm going to start with the people that voted for Trump, and I really would love to hear their thought process first. And the reason why I say that they're failing us is because of multiple factors, right? And if you look at this side, that side. If you take a look at the actual side panel, war plans are public, which I guess anybody gets to know, like, what we're doing in the military now. Like, everyone gets top clearance, or I have no idea. Like, why are we group chatting war plans? I mean, but apparently it's a thing. Injunctions on injunctions. Yes, the courts are the only ones that are fighting back when it comes to Donald Trump. And the Stephen Miller actually put out a tweet and was just talking about how, Trump's administration, his first term, how they actually had all like 64 injunctions or whatever. But someone actually made a great point. Stop doing stuff that's illegal. If you stop doing stuff that's illegal, then, the courts won't have to keep stepping in. So there's that. Segregation is back. I don't think that I need to actually expound on that one. Segregation is legal in federal buildings again. Yeah. And also, who's in charge? More so speaking to Donald Trump. And you know what's funny? Donald Trump has outright came out and said that he didn't sign the Aliens Enemy Act. He did not sign that, and it seems like he's trying to say maybe it was Marco Rubio, or I'm just so confused. And if he's not the one making the calls, then who's in charge? So, with that being said, I'm going to start with my friend Ryan. Ryan, the floor is yours. I genuinely have to know, what are your thoughts on a journalist being added to a group text message where they were actually talking about war plans, where they were dropping boom booms in Yemen, and like, the floor is yours. I'm sorry. I'm just going to leave it there.
No, you're not going to find a whole lot of opposition here on that point. That's absolutely embarrassing and cannot happen. There's no excuse for it. I wouldn't even be mad. I mean, I would even say that Mr. Hegseth needs to be replaced. I don't defend that at all because it's absolutely embarrassing.
Yeah. I'm there with you as well. I guess because Pete Hegseth is the one that actually apparently set up the group message. Do you think there'll be any type of repercussions for it?
I'm not sure. I would be in favor of some type of repercussions because that can't happen. It's that's putting our servicemen's lives at risk. It's an absolute breach of our trust, and I'm not for. It's pretty upsetting to see something like that come out.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely. I thought it was fake, or not necessarily fake, but I was just like, what in the world? But okay, yeah.
Can't imagine being that journalist.
No, right? And like, you're on this actual thread, and you're looking like, and he said that he thought that it was fake. He didn't think that it was actually something was happening, and surprise. Okay, Matt, what about you? What are your thoughts on, like, I mean, because again, you voted for Donald Trump in this administration. You didn't vote for Pete Hegseth, but these people that are in power are literally the people that Donald Trump has surrounded himself with, and like, this type of mess up is like, it's insane.
I do agree with you that it is a little bit crazy. 100%. I mean, I have no backing for it. The only thing that I could even think of would be that it was done on purpose to kind of make a response to the EU to show where we're really at as a country. But even then,
Wait, wait, wait,
it's
wait,
kind
wait,
of
wait,
crazy.
wait, wait, wait. So you said that it was possibly done on purpose?
Yeah, to kind of show the EU where our stance is right now. But I mean, I have no proof with that either.
Interesting.
That would be the only plausible reason besides craziness.
So is it 4D chess? Is that what are they playing
That's
4D chess?
the only reason that I would have besides him just making a mistake and he deserves the repercussions of it.
Huh.
I think the mistake is he has a drinking problem and he needs to be replaced.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. All right, let's swing it around to the rest of the panel. Because of course I wanted to hear from the people first that actually voted for Trump, but I have to hear from everyone else. So I'm gonna start with Rhea. Rhea, what are your thoughts, friend? Like, I mean, this is like, hey, Rhea, Hillary Clinton's emails, right? Like, what? Like, this is the thing, right?
Yeah, so my thoughts is that he should have never been the secretary or been in Trump's cabinet in the first place. And my reasonings for this are the fact that he is supremely unqualified.
Mm,
Historically, looking at the people who are electors selected as Department of Defense are generally were a part of law enforcement, were a part of something to do with the Department of the Defense, were in either Secret Service or FBI or CIA. They had some law enforcement work. This guy's only really thing was he managed a business of 100 people, and I'm pretty sure he was a Fox News co-host. Like, that's mind-boggling insane that he went from managing 100 people to you're going to put him in charge of millions of soldiers and millions of people and let him be in charge of so much classified information and war strategies when all of his qualifications are being like a host and managing 100 people. It's
mm,
absolutely insane he was elected in the first place, not to mention the fact that he couldn't stay loyal to any one of his wives. So how can we expect him to stay loyal to our country? And the fact that he has that drinking problem. There's just like
ooh,
in the like even just hearing all about him when Senate was thinking on whether or not to approve of him, I was like, absolutely not.
The only problem I
that's
have
a
with
lot.
that is your presidential candidate was also had a drinking problem.
Okay,
That would be
well,
the only thing.
hold tight 1 second. Well, Matt, just an FYI, and I'm sorry, Matt, Ryan, if you guys want, please go on mute while other people are speaking. We do go one at a time. Also, too, that was actually never substantiated. I know that was an actual claim that was portrayed by the right, but there was no actual proof of a drinking problem. Pete Hegseth actually has a long documented history of a drinking problem. And even when he went to testify in front of Congress, he told them that if he got the job as got the job of Secretary of Defense, then he would give up drinking. So there's that. But hold tight for me. Rhea, anything else before I move off of you? And I want to keep passing it around.
Yeah, I just think it's insane. We're gonna kind of continue to see this lack of security on classified stuff continue to happen from the Trump administration. I'm honestly not surprised it's happening, and I'm not surprised if it happens in the future because we can't expect security and classification from a president who brings classified information to their Mar-a-Lago hotel.
Mm,
So, not a shocker to me, and we're gonna continue to see this happen.
okay, perfect, perfect. Give me a second here. Sarah, what are your thoughts? I mean, like just as a young person, right? And I would think that um, you would want to feel safe and secure and protected, and that's what our military is there for. How does that make you feel knowing that the people in charge of the military can't even keep the right people in the loop without letting stuff get out?
I mean, it's scary for me, of course, because I'm almost 21 years old and I don't know what the future holds for me or for my future children because, Trump just wants yes men. He wants people to say yes to everything that he puts on the table, and it's scary because I don't think he cares about America. I think he was in it was in a him in the United States, when he lost the 2020 election, it was like being in a narcissistic relationship. He's back for revenge. He's
Yep.
not back to make things better. He's here to punish us for not putting him in office again.
Yeah, yeah, you know what, and that's one thing that I will say for sure. I mean, he's been very open about the fact that he was coming back with vengeance, right? And he was coming back for all the people that he felt targeted by and all of those things. So you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Let's keep moving around. Chris, I'm gonna save you for last because I genuinely you were the first person I thought of when I read that article, and I purposefully have avoided listening to any live that you've been on because I've wanted to save your thoughts like fresh. So I'm going to come back to you last. Elliot, what are your thoughts? I mean, is this an offense where we need to not only get rid of Pete Hegseth, but does it give you any type of pause for the rest of the people within Trump's cabinet?
Yeah, I mean, again, I to kind of echo what Rhea was saying, it's Pete was probably one of the few people that like genuinely had no business being in that position that he was in. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure he was like a Fox News host for like the longest time before he got nominated for this, correct?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's just like clearly like yes, serving in the military is one thing, but like again, having the knowledge and poise and just overall attitude towards this position, I feel like he just has no business being there. And again, we're seeing the fruits of that, right? I think that it's just been um just if I'm being completely honest, just kind of a mockery of just like the position that we kind of hold is so near and dear to
Yeah.
us, right? It's just again, we've seen people who have served well in this, both again, I'll give it both Republican and Democrat, but this is just a pick kind of out of left field where it feels as though that it's just kind of like the Trump club of like if you're cool friends with them, I'm just going to give you a position on my cabinet. So again, it's unfortunate and yeah, it's kind of scary, especially with things that are going on currently with Ukraine and Russia, especially things with Gaza and Israel. Like, again, it's a lot of scary stuff, and so I just hope that down the line, if we choose to, I don't personally know how you remove someone like Pete Hegseth. Is it like a nomination, like they vote him out, or is it like more just he's kind of in there for the next 4 years?
No, Trump can just get rid of him.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's a little bit more than that, but he can just get rid of him.
Yeah, and so that's what I mean. If it's Trump, the only person that he can get rid of is just kind of like the only way that's happening is if he gets fed up and tired with him, which again, we've seen with him. If you don't like what he likes, then he's gonna boot you out. But
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what happens down in the long run.
Absolutely, absolutely. H. Ruckers, I want to come to you. Um, I like to Elliot's point, remembering that Pete Hegseth was actually it took JD Vance having to be a tie-breaking vote in order to actually get him in. With that in mind, and with this big of a blunder at the start of the administration, do you think that he needs to be replaced?
100%. Yeah, of course. All I was thinking was that maybe this is the one thing that the Trump administration or its fans can't sane wash. Like I learned the word sane wash from you first, and then I heard it be used more and more. The way people sort of excuse Trump's administration's actions and try to find sane explanations for them when they really weren't sane. I can't see how anybody can sane wash this one effectively. Like I'm wondering if this one is a useful one as leverage to help people realize this administration is not what they hoped for.
Mm. So do you think that there's a possibility for them to learn from this?
I think there's a possibility for voters to learn from this because this is one of those cases where a lot of voters who were fans of Trump or people in his administration, I don't see how you can be a fan of this. I think that most people, even if they voted for Trump, are too sane to try and sane wash this, most of the members of the public.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that to your point, it's going to be hard to get past this one because, and that's why I really wanted to start off with Matt and Ryan, for the people that really, support Trump and voted for Trump. I think I don't think that I've heard one person so far who is a Trump supporter or someone that actually voted for Trump that has stood up and said, you know what, this isn't a big deal. So that's at least been a thing. So I don't know if they're gonna try to sane wash it. Like it's a thing. But okay. NBM, coming to you. Tell me, what are your thoughts? Because at the same time that we're doing this, right? And we have the boom boom in Yemen. We're actively trying to negotiate between Ukraine and Russia. We're actively engaged in whatever's happening in Israel, which we know what they're doing, and it's a whole G side, but we're still actively engaged in that, and we have all of these other tentacles out when it comes to our actual military. Like, what does this say about the top down when it comes to our actual fighting forces?
Well, considering that it was done on a social media app, first of all, I feel like he crapped the bed like entirely. Obviously, like everybody else says, but I also want to like say that this is the biggest blunder in national security and intelligence that's ever.
What about Hillary's emails?
I mean, I don't even even compared to like releasing war, like what you plan on doing as far as a foreign policy, like situation. I don't think it was even that bad. I mean, look, Russian collusion, it's here. It's been here for a while. Like I feel like we all have a bitter taste in our mouth from that. But at the same time, yeah, no, this is worse in the sense that like someone who had clear efforts of a secret plan that was supposed to like move this Yemen situation forward. I know Democratic leaders are, like saying that like they want a full investigation, that it's horrible, that like it's a breach. Even Republicans are like, "Wow, dude." So um, I would be really surprised if Pete kept his position, especially
Mm,
with how sensitive those things were. But hey, guys, it's Trump. I mean, he
yeah,
shocked us before.
yep, yep. No, you're absolutely right. Perfect, perfect. All right. Last but not least, Chris. Like I said, I legitimately waited. I made sure I saw you in different spaces. I saw you live, and I'm like, I'm not gonna listen to it. Not gonna listen. I saw the quick comment that you made when I sent you the information, but I was like, I'm staying away from this. Chris, what in the hell?
There's a lot that goes into this, but I believe we have an obligation to kind of educate the public on how much of a massive F up that this is, right? So this is the danger of putting somebody in that is not qualified to do the job because according to DoD Directive 5200, everybody from the smallest rank in the military all the way up to the general should have known this by now, right? You can only send classified info through encrypted networks, which is what we call Security Internet Protocol Routing Network, SIPR, right? This is the Secretary of Defense getting this absolutely wrong, right? This also violates a few other things as well, like the Espionage Act. I believe that is 18 USC 793, if you guys want to look that up. This goes over people intentionally giving data, losing data. I consider letting a journalist have this as losing data and dispelling it to the public and all these other things. So this is quite literally somebody that should have known better. Number one, this is quite literally Hegseth only was a rank higher than me in the military. That's bad. So bringing number one, number two, I want to go over to what the gentleman Matt said. He said maybe they could have done this on purpose for the EU. What are we going to teach the EU that we don't know how to handle our what's called operational security and then later degrade the trust later? Also, going back to the Middle East and the big circle of WTF, now quite literally the enemy that's possibly watching this on American media is now going to be more susceptible to maneuvering around us. I do think that Pete Hegseth needs to get fired immediately, and I think he needs to get held to 18 USC 793 because losing data is quite literally grounds for getting arrested and thrown in jail. But Trump's not going to do that. So I try to keep a long story short here, but the problem is he violated a protocol that even the most junior of soldiers know. Like I can tell a private in the army only exchange info on an encrypted network, and he wouldn't let a journalist in there.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Listen, it's what was the term that it was the term that I just keep thinking about, and this was said so much during the first Trump administration, and it's the term that like just immediately keeps popping back into my head now. It was a dereliction of duty. Right? I mean, that was the actual over and over and over and over and over term during the first administration. And Chris, I think that it's a dereliction of duty. Like I don't understand.
I wouldn't say that term. I think the proper term, him being as high up, it's called negligence, right? That's the
Who?
actual term in the Department of Defense, right? It's negligence to also, not follow the security protocols that you've been briefed on, right? It's not like he probably went his whole career, right, not doing this, but does it on the highest level, right? It is a negligent action to go through a non-encrypted network. And you know what's funny actually? Also, according to all the CIO memos and the DoD manuals, it actually says, I'm going to read it verbatim here. It says commercial messaging apps are not certified for classified data. So this dude knows better. So that's just no excuse for that.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So I want to swing it back around. Swing it back around. And guys, keep tapping the screen. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 100,000 likes. Let's also get the shares up to 150 shares. And let's knock out the daily gift goal a couple of times. That'll help push us out to the FYP. Also, guys, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. And also, if you're over on YouTube, if you would like to actually support, you can send a super chat and I will read that out. If you're on YouTube as well, make sure you're liking the stream. Thank you. Matt, I want to come back to you for a second. Because I know I specifically started in a spot talking about what happened, right? But Matt, there's a lot that's going on. And so I guess I would like to know from you. I mean, I know you said you're still at a 6, but does it actually worry you that the Trump administration is facing so many uphill challenges and doing things that are actively harmful, right? I mean, like, what are your thoughts on the fact that segregation is now legal in federal buildings again?
What are you referring to by that?
Oh, you don't know.
I'm just asking, like, what are you talking about specifically?
Okay. Chris, would you like to educate Matt on what I am talking about?
Yeah, and I'm gonna actually do one better. I'll give you the exact reference, Matt, so you can go ahead and take a look at it, right? So, when it comes to segregation in the federal, we're talking about on the federal, like, employee level, right? Contractors, things like that. Segregation used to be prohibited under a memo, I believe, called 52 point 22.21. And that just said, under no circumstance at all, basically, like I'm obviously dumbing this down a little bit because there's a lot that goes into it. I'm glad it was actually detailed, right? That prohibits any form of segregation, right? Now, with that taken out of place, now there is nothing banning segregation, right, in the federal workplace. And to be quite honest with you, in 2025, that was better left there than even taken away at all. Because the arguments being made, it was like, well, segregation in there was banned, but now nobody's going to segregate. But, like, why give them the option? Because it was mandated in there that you will not segregate on the federal level under any circumstance. And that memo can be found on the GSA and all these other things. 52-22-21.
Yep, absolutely. Oh, not need to do that. Hold on. Sorry, guys. 1 second here. Just trying to. All right. For anyone that's looking for it, Reuters ran a really great article about this. Just there we go, and then do this. Boom. All right. Yep. Reuters ran a really great article talking about this as far as Trump banning the actual banning segregation in different facilities, but basically it's a rollback on multiple things, and I think it's somewhat supposed to be targeted towards like DEI and all this other stuff because we do know for a fact, and which it highlights here the whole diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. But it highlights that and it speaks to multiple things that this administration is doing that is actively and openly harmful when it comes to progress. So, Matt, how old are you?
21.
21. You are a young man, Matt. 21. So you don't know a life of, segregation. What part of the country are you from? Like, you don't have to tell me specifically, but like
I don't
South.
care. I'm from Philly.
Okay. So you're not even from the South. Young man, not even necessarily from the South. What are your thoughts on basically this administration saying it's okay to be racist in federal buildings?
I mean, I don't necessarily agree that that's even what's being spoke. I do agree with you that now, like, that opens up the opportunity for that.
Mm-hmm.
However, my opinion is that DEI is a form of, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, is a form,
DEIA.
is a form of Rism.
Racism?
Yeah, am I allowed to say
Wait,
that?
so you think DEIA is a form of racism?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, tell me why.
I believe that picking someone based on their skin color, besides their actual merit, is just a problem in general. I believe that weakens the workforce.
Yep. Hold tight 1 second, Chris. Actually, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. Hey, Sarah, friend, you mind if I drop you down for a moment?
Sure.
Okay. I'll get you back in here. Thank you. I'm gonna bring in Hawk because I genuinely always enjoy listening to Hawk talk about DEIA, in which he had to actually educate me on the A portion of that. Hawk, did you hear this young man?
Yes, I did, which is why I requested.
I know. Listen, Hawk. Apparently, DEIA is racist.
So, what's his name? Matt. Matt, can
Matt.
you define what you think DEIA is?
Like the
Oh,
actual.
he was saying that it's based off of rewarding someone based off of skin color, not based off of merit.
But where did you get that, Matt? Did you look that up yourself and research it to determine what DEIA is, or you're just going by what someone told you?
I've been looking up a lot of statistics on it, looking at the workforce statistics, some of the mess ups that have happened in the past 4 years.
Again, that still didn't answer my question because what you're describing is not DEIA. What does the letters DEIA stand for?
Diversity, equity, inclusion. I don't know the A.
And
I've
accessibility.
never even actually heard it be used in when
Well,
people are talking about
because
DEI.
your side just wants to use it as a catchphrase that's just a new racist term that they use because that's what they're saying, right? Because it doesn't mean what you describe. It means diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, meaning everyone should have access to everything. You still have to have the merit, right? You have to qualify for whatever it is, but everyone should have the opportunity to apply. That's what DEIA stands for. They've got you thinking that it's some kind of quota system. In
Well,
this
what about
country,
the
quotas have,
lowering of
I'm still
standards?
talking. I'm still talking. In this country, quotas have been illegal since it's either 78 or 79, right? By the Supreme Court. Quotas are illegal. Affirmative action and DEIA are not. All they are accessibility for people to be able to apply. For instance, if you're a woman and you go and apply for a job or whatever, you could be the most highly qualified person, but because you're a woman, they don't want to hire you. DEIA prevents them from doing that. If you're a person of color, you could be one of the most qualified, but because you're a person of color, they don't want to hire you. DEI prevents that. If you're a person with a handicap, you're in a wheelchair or something, or whatever it might be, they don't want to hire you for that reason, even though you're highly qualified for the position. DEIA prevents those things. That's all it did. It doesn't mean that you get some preferential treatment or whatever. It doesn't do any of that. That's what they told you, and you just believe that. And I don't believe you did any research, because if you did, you would know that.
Yeah, and just an FYI, I mean, I did bring this up. This is a great site if you want to actually get in here and really break down what DEIA is. And the funny thing about that, right? Because a lot of people try to say that DEIA is steeped in racial inequality in the sense of, oh, this person is black or this person is Asian or whatever, and we're just going to give them this opportunity because they're a different race. It's not. It's not. It's even more interesting that you guys say that when literally DEIA is about merit, which you actually said. Chris, you had something you wanted to add?
Yeah, so, I wanted to provide a little bit of layer of quantifiable evidence to what Hawk just said, right?
Yep.
So, as long as DEI has been measured as something as you can invest through a company, it's always, and I'm gonna quote a ton of resources here because they all, this has been pretty like definitive for quite a long time. According to the U.S. Department of Economic Analysis, according to Boston Consulting Group and McKinsey, whose literal job is to analyze this stuff, starting with the S&P 500, and then I'll go into STEM in just a second. Since we've been able to measure DEI investment into S&P 500, the 500 largest companies, the ones that invest in DEI are more profitable, suffer less losses than the ones that don't. So what you just said didn't match the reality. STEM, right, which is important, diverse teams are 10 to 13% more effective with their research outcomes than ones that are not. And also, all economists, including conservative and liberal, also say that these effects can also be found on smaller companies as well. So as long as we've been able to measure this, DEI has only been, effective, which also proves the case that the most qualified people, right, are there because it is not just pushing people based on diversity over meritocracy, but actually is allowing for people to at least get an opportunity based on practicality.
So I guess Matt, I want to come back to you because it's interesting that you said that, right? And to Chris's point, there's been multiple studies. Um, for anyone asking about that, that was the Institute for Diversity certification. I'll drop it in the chat again. But if anyone wants to get that, it is in the chat. But Matt, I would love to come back to you and find out because you said that you actually did research on it. Like, what research? What did you find, friend?
Well, I mean, we're talking about like the standards also being lowered to a point. I mean, we could use the
No, they
military.
haven't.
Hold on 1 second, Hawk. Go ahead and finish your point, Matt.
The military standards have been dramatically lowered to get our rates up.
Okay. So yeah, you're speaking specifically to the military or in general to
I was just using one example of that.
Okay. So
Can you,
I'd
can you
love to
define
hear.
that?
hold on 1 second.
I'd
Hold
actually
on,
love
hold
to
on.
hear.
No. Hold on 1 second, because I want to hear you out on this for a second before Chris or Hawk gets back to it. So you're saying specifically the military standards were lowered. Where can you find that?
In the physical fitness requirements.
Okay, so all right. So you're saying, hold on. So you're
I'd
saying,
love to hear you. I'm not.
wait. I know. Just give it a second. Because I wanna make sure that I have this fully fleshed out. So specifically, you're saying that the actual standards were lowered. The actual standards were lowered, and you can actually find that with the military in the physical fitness standards. And Matt, do you know when that was changed or where I can find that?
I don't know the year it was changed. It's been in the past 10 years though.
Okay, so it's been within the last 10 years. Okay, hold tight for me 1 second. Chris, Hawk, I know you guys want to talk,
Yeah,
but real
Chris,
quick,
fill it in, bro.
hold on. No, hold on.
I'd love to hear it.
Sure, hold on 1 second. MBM, I know you had your hand up. What did you want to add to this?
I think that we just need to also make it known that the president's intentions is to revert the law back to 1965. So what happens in the last 10 years doesn't necessarily play an effect to the damage that Trump wants to do. And I just want to just say, just like as a YT man, for the chat, the panel, the 441 people in this room, that this is a really good time to deconstruct as a YT man, because the laws are being changed back to segregated practice before our eyes, and it is happening. So the denial of, we can talk about the last 4 years, we can talk about the last 20 years, but the man wants to revert the law back to 1965. So I just want to make that, I just wanted to put that on the record, that no matter what stats you bring, as far as like what's happened over the last 2 decades, that doesn't change the fact that he wants to revert it back to the last 6 decades.
Okay.
And
Just saying.
if I can push back on that ever so slightly, Hermes is actually pre 1965, because 1965 is when we got the civil rights movement full force and we started making the positive changes and the progression. Pre 1965, it was pure segregation. That's the issue.
Also, Hawk, while you have the floor, did you want to go ahead and speak to the military changing their standards or lowering their standards as a part of DEIA?
Yeah, I would argue, and I would love for him to provide a source, but I would argue just the opposite. Now, they're still not equal as pertains to men versus women, but women are doing a hell of a lot more now than they have been in the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years, right? Other than that, the standards are the same. There's no different standard if you're Black or if you're Latino or if you're Asian or anything else. The standard is the standard.
How do I get my hand up?
Okay. Yep. I'm gonna come. Actually,
How do I?
let's go to Ryan. Let's go to Ryan, and then Chris, and then and then we'll introduce Popcorn. Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I've wanted to have my hand up for a little bit, and I just want
Yeah,
to.
yeah. I apologize. I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
No, I don't know how to do the hand. How do I do that?
Well, most of the times the people, and now I see Ria's as well. Most of the time, people put it in the chat, and then either I'll see it or like my mods will let me know.
Okay.
But yeah, well, but thank you for being patient.
Yeah, no worries. I just wanted to touch on the last topic just real quick, and I'm gonna move on to this topic. I was the first one to denounce Hegseth, and I think I don't know if you brought up the Hillary thing as a joke, but I think that was just as serious because she was handling classified information on.
Well, I brought it up because I feel like this is more, right? Like this is a bigger deal. You think it's the same?
Everyone sees that Hegseth is underqualified. Well, Hillary had no excuse because everyone said she was the most overqualified Secretary of State that we might have ever had, and I just don't think she had any excuse. I think they were equally as bad, but I don't want to stick on that. I just wanted to make that point. On the DEI, I reject what Chris said because he said that there was no safety net for segregation in federal buildings now. That is explicitly wrong. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the EEOC regulations.
That's not what I said.
Yeah, that is what you said.
I did not say that there
You
wasn't.
said that
I did not say
there's
that
nothing
there,
that's blocked.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, Chris. Okay, Ryan, say again what you believe Chris said, and then we'll let Chris clarify. Say it again.
By taking this away, and this is what I heard, that there's no safety net for not allowing segregation in federal buildings now. And that's absolutely wrong because
all right, cool.
Hold on 1 second, Chris.
1964 is still made it illegal, and EEOC regulations still make it explicitly illegal. It seems like the left's outrage isn't about real segregation; it's about narrative optics.
Okay,
cool. Hold on.
You guys like to weaponize symbolic language to spin a headline, and the headline is that all Republicans are racist, and that's just absolutely not true.
Okay, hold on 1 second. All right, Chris, can you clarify?
Me off because I was cooking you earlier.
Hold on. Seriously, wait. 1 second. Seriously, guys, both of you, please, one at a time. We're not going to talk over each other. Chris, go ahead.
Awesome. So he made a completely.
Chris
he made a
avoid debate because he got.
Hey, popcorn. I don't know if you've already noticed that there's decorum here, and I literally just said one at a time. We're not going to talk over each other. I gave the order. I said I was going to introduce you. Hold tight, Chris. The floor is yours.
Awesome, thank you. And people in the comments even quoted what I said verbatim. Wow, some of you guys are listening. Sounds like Ryan was making up stories, just like JD Vance says, making up stories. Now, I even gave you the reference. You probably didn't even listen, right? I just said what was removed. Nowhere did I say that there was no safety net. You had to make up another argument, making up stories. So I even gave you what was removed, 52-22-51. Nowhere did I say that there is no safety net. All I was doing was putting the regulation that was removed. That's it. And people in the comments were quoting me verbatim. Good job for listening, guys. Can't say he did the same thing. Thank you.
Before I move off of you, Ryan, anything else that you want to add to that point, before I get to the other people on the panel? Oh, Ryan, I'm going to send you a request to come off mute. There we
No,
go.
I'm here. No,
Okay.
I remember what he said, and so he wants to keep playing that game. That's fine, but I remember what he said because as soon as he said
Hold
it, I
on,
was like,
Chris. Hold
"Oh,
on one
geez, I'm
second,
gonna
Chris.
cook him."
You
Okay.
have to make up arguments now. Nice job.
No, I don't have to make anything up. Just rewind the tape, buddy.
Okay. All right, but guys, give me a second here.
Cool,
All right. W's in the chat for Skip. Skip sent a $1 donation. Thank you so much. What up, Skip? W's in the chat for Rhonda, who sent a $3 donation saying, love your content. Thank you so much, Rhonda. That means so much to me. And also W's in the chat for Miranda. I think I said that right. Miranda, thank you so much for the $1 donation saying, thank you for educating and speaking out. You're appreciated. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that $3 donation. You're absolutely too kind. Guys, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. All the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24, best way to support the live. Anything is accepted. Everything is appreciated. And if you are watching over on YouTube, you can support by sending a super chat and I will read your message out. I want to come to popcorn, but before I do, I know Rhea had her hand up. So Rhea, I want to give you the floor for a second and then we're going to go to popcorn.
Can I actually listen what Popcorn has to say? I've heard he's a troublemaker and I want to respond to it.
Okay, well, hold on one second then. Well, in that case, before we go to popcorn, H. Rucker, you've been quiet for a while. Anything that you want to add to this actual point before we move to popcorn?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Chris said what he said and not what Ryan said he said. But also, I see this change in this rule as, even though there is a safety net right now, I see it as the administration testing the waters for how much explicit racism they can get away with, and it fucking pisses me off because they're doing this with everything they do right now. Everything they do is seeing just how much they can get away with and just seeing how much the public and legislators will put up with it, and Congress people are rolling over and dying and not doing anything about any of these terrible behaviors. And I just see this as yet another subtle or not so subtle way to test the waters of how much bullshit they can get away with in the future, and I freaking hate it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We know for a fact that's exactly what it is. I feel like that's something that's happening across the board with the Trump administration. They're probing the actual outer areas of everywhere, right? And seeing what they can get away with, whether it's something that doesn't need to be legally challenged or something that it's a whole thing. It's absolutely a whole thing. And I don't know what was said, but guys, make sure we are using TikTok friendly language. I must have missed that. So there's that. Also, real quick, because I want to get this before we get to popcorn. W's in the chat for Justin, who sent a $5 donation saying, love the live stream. Keep it up. Thank you so much for the $5 donation, Justin. And W's at massive. W's in the chat for Misbehave Manda, who sent a $25 donation saying, thank you for everything that you do. Manda, thank you so much for the donation. That was absolutely far too kind. Thank you. You are amazing. Yeah, guys, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. With that being said, popcorn. Hey, W's in the chat for the dinosaur. Popcorn, the floor is yours. I know we were talking about the actual segregation, but something that I would love to hear your opinion on first before you get to that point. What are your thoughts on Pete Hegseth and him actually putting a journalist into the group chat where they were talking about the booming on Yemen? Like, do you what are your thoughts on that?
I think that we don't have enough information on it to determine what was said. I know that he was on it. JD Vance was on it, and several other high-profile people. And I'm pretty sure that they're not dumb enough to discuss actual war plans on Signal, because I use Signal myself, but that's not the type of app that you would use. And I know that every single one of those individuals has a device, a separate phone that is encrypted, and those kind of conversations would happen on there. So I don't know why they did it, but I guess we'll find out more when the story actually unfolds.
Yeah, now, and just an FYI, and maybe you haven't heard this, but I'll share this with you, because it's funny that Pete Hegseth, they caught him outside of a chopper, and he was saying, oh, it's made up, it's not true or whatever. But this is a great article that was ran by AP News earlier on it. It's already been authenticated by the National Security Council. The National Security Council has already come out and said, actually, yeah, that's real, right? So they verified not only the story, but the facts of the story, and the fact that that information, not only was it legitimately the people who were supposedly on the actual text chain, but the fact that the information that was being shared was actual information.
So
So,
time and locations and all that stuff, actual classified information. Is that what you're
yep,
saying?
yep.
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll see as it unfolds.
That's all you got.
Yeah.
Really? That's actually kind of disappointing,
As it
Popcorn.
unfolds. What do you want me to say? That it didn't happen, or that
No, I mean, like,
fire them all? Like what do you want me to say?
I honestly, I don't even think that like this is a left or a right thing. This is an actual thing of like national security, and this is something that could have not only put soldiers' lives in jeopardy, but in our quote unquote mission in jeopardy. But imagine if it was like an actual someone that was either willing to give up that information or somehow got into the hands of our quote unquote enemies or whatever. Like that.
Yeah, can I respond to this?
Give me 1 second. Popcorn. That you don't see anything over like. It's weird that you don't really have a stance on that.
So my say is this: I learned years ago. It was actually my second tour in Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
That the initial report is not completely accurate.
Okay.
And I learned that years ago, and I've always stuck by that. What we're getting now is the initial report, and let's wait a day or two to see what actually comes out and see how it is described to the T.
Actually, but that's not the initial report. The initial report told us what it was. He just told you that the National Security Council has verified it. So it's not the initial report anymore. It's
Exactly.
been verified. And the
Not
National
only
Security Council wants an internal investigation.
the National
What's
Security
the date
Council.
and time of that report from the National Security Council?
Well, I mean, this story came out with they verified it. Let's see, this was verified today. The time on it, this was last updated at 7:57 PST. So today at 5:57. Mm-hmm.
So I just have a question, just to kind of like, because I'm curious from Popcorn's side of view, maybe Hawk, what's like the actual regulation from like the time somebody finds out? Because that is a valid point. I'll admit, there's probably like some sort of reporting protocol that like has a process with a time limit to it. Or, like, do you know what that is off the top of your head with the Security Council?
Me, no.
Oh no, I was talking to Hawk, but I was just curious about your point.
No, I do not. Not without looking it up.
It's a little bit hairy. I'll go look into that later. But
and just an FYI, so the story broke earlier, like way earlier in the day, and like this actual point of it being verified just came out like right before we started the live. So there's that. You know what's funny? Hey Matt, real quick, and then I want to come to Rhea because Rhea wants to add something to this. But Matt, what made you say that it was possible that maybe like this was a something from Trump's plan where he actually like it was a grand scheme or something to where did you get that information from, or where did you get that thought from?
I said I didn't have any proof of that. That was just the one thing that I could think of. The only reasoning that I would have is like they were using emojis and on Signal app. Like I think that's kind of crazy in the first place to discuss that kind of information. Which if it comes out, like the full story comes out. I mean, I know you said that they already verified, but if there's more to the story, I mean, yeah, it's totally wrong.
The only reason I asked that question is because I scrolled down a little bit more in this article, right? And not sure if you can see this. By earlier evening, the president jokingly brushed it aside. He amplified on a social media posting from Elon Musk spotlighting the conservative satirical news site article with the cutting headline 4D chess, Genius Trump leaks war plans to the Atlantic where no one will ever see them. You sure you didn't see that on the Twitters, on the old Bird app?
You were the one that used the 4D chess term, not me.
Right. But I mean, like, it was the premise behind what you were saying, and that's why I said that. I don't know. I was just, it was such a coincidence that I scrolled down in the article and I was reading more, and it literally, pretty much said what you were saying. That was interesting.
Like, the only thing that I could think is that there's a deeper meaning.
Okay. All right. 1 second. So, Popcorn, I'm going to come back to you in just a half a second, but Rhea, I want to allow you to be able to respond.
Yeah, so everyone in the chat was saying, oh God, it's Popcorn. Popcorn was saying, I'm gonna cook you all. And the best argument you could come up with was that, oh, I just hope they're not dumb enough to do that. Like, that's literally insane considering you know who, like, these elected officials are. The fact that is the matter of they have a lack for national security and protection. You saw that with the Mar-a-Lago documents. Historically seeing with the past few years, they just don't protect national security. And to say, oh, this is probably like a freak accident or it was probably not their intention is honestly crazy and such a hypocritical thing. If this had happened on the left, you would be asking for the defense to step down. That is least of what the right would be doing.
Actually,
not to mention, you
Hold
guys
on,
have
hold on
going
1 second,
off
Popcorn.
on Hunter
Popcorn,
Biden
hold on
and
1
Hillary
second, friend.
Clinton when you have the Department of Defense literally doing this, and this is actually insane. And now, Popcorn, I'd like to ask Popcorn a question and respond to it after he answers. My question is, do you think that the Pete Hegseth should step down to this, or it's shown that he's unqualified for this position?
Popcorn, the floor is yours. Also, I would like to add on to that. Do you think that, or if this was, the the Biden administration and someone appointed by Joe Biden had, done this, would you be calling for them to step down?
No, I would consider that extremely unprofessional, especially this early. Also, to reply, she said a lot. I don't know, can't really remember everything that she said just now. She said a lot.
Buddy.
Hold on 1 second, Reed.
Anyway, no, I would not be calling for the firing of the Secretary of Defense this early on. Again, I am. As I said, I learned a long time ago not to jump to conclusions, which apparently you sound like you would do, and to answer the question about the National Security Council. I just looked it up and I cited that AP article you said, and they basically said that it seems authentic that they were sending messages. Now, I don't doubt at all that they were sending messages on Signal. And to be honest, there's absolutely no problem with that as long as there's no actual wartime plans that they were discussing.
Well, I mean, that actually was.
If there's dates and times and stuff like that in military assets, yes, that's a problem. If they were discussing, hey, I sent you an email, and based on the text that I've seen, there's no problem with what they were saying. But again, we got to not jump to conclusions and see what comes out.
Okay, that's fair. Hold tight for me 1 second. Guys, we have, welcome back, Maddie. We have one other box open. I would love to get one other person in that is someone that is excited about what this Trump administration is doing, someone who leans closer to Popcorn and Matt than the rest of the panel. I know we have a few people in the box. If you are in the request and you are someone that is excited about the Trump administration, if you're happy, Maddie, you are? Okay, I'll go ahead and bring you in. I will go ahead and bring you in. Also, guys, W's in the chat mhm. for I can't read that off. I can't read that off. Ray, I can't read that off. W's in the chat though. I have no idea what they would do with those people. But W's in the chat for the dollar donation. Thank you so much. You are absolutely too kind, guys. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all of the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. If you enjoy the information, education, entertainment, please consider donating. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. Also, over on YouTube, if you would like to send a super chat, you can definitely send a super chat and I will read that out. Okay, so let's do this. MBM, I want to come to you. H. Ruckers, I want to come to you, and then we're going to introduce a new person on the panel. I also want to let the other people who haven't had an opportunity to speak to kind of swing it back around. MBM, floor is yours.
Okay, so popcorn. I just want to bring it back to what Santana said that as the left, you would have crucified us for something like this. And in fact, y'all did crucify us, and we brought it back a few times on the panel. But when Hillary colluded with Russia, you did crucify the Democratic Party for that, and you elected Donald Trump, who also colluded, might I add, and also, like with all of this stuff going on, shows that the administration doesn't have any integrity in its cabinet picks based on the fact that Pete Hegseth is a schmalcoholic. So my question for you, Popcorn, is you guys did demonize us. When are we gonna rise above all this bullshit and just call our leaders for what they are?
Colluding with Russia is different from
I wasn't
Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on one second,
everybody,
one second,
Popcorn.
Frank. 1 second, seriously. This was directed towards Popcorn. We'll go one at a time.
Yep. So
But Popcorn, the floor is yours.
yep. So I'm not sure exactly what instance you're talking about that Hillary Clinton was demonized. She was demonized many times. Um, the Russian collusion thing, we could talk about that, but I just want to add that again, I currently work in a top secret setting. When I go into work, off work, when I'm at home, I use the app Signal, and I use it every day. And also throughout my military career, I've also been on NIPRNet, which is the unclassified side of the network, and we get into conversations back and forth because you got to go to a whole nother well, not so much building, but another room to use a secret or a top secret computer. So sometimes you get to talking back and forth on NIPRNet or on the app Signal, and then you get to a point where like, whoa, we're starting to talk about too many things here. Let's take it to the high side, which means take it to the top secret level. And maybe that's what happened. Don't know. Again, we'll find out. But no, if this was the Democrats that this happened to, I would say the same exact thing.
You know what? And the one thing that I will say in your defense, Popcorn, I mean, you at least sound genuine and your logic isn't flawed, right? I mean, I disagree with the premise, but your logic isn't flawed. So I'll definitely give you that. Let's jump over to H. Ruckers.
Hey, I was struck by something Matt said earlier, which is that like the only thing I could think of is that they released it on purpose for something.
Mm-hmm.
That language struck me because I think why is it anybody's job here to think of a flattering explanation, like when in this case I think it's Occam's razor, and this guy, like, we've talked about his lack of qualifications. We've talked about the steps the Atlantic, the media organization, went through after they got the initial text, and it wasn't just the first draft of history. There were some steps after that. And so I don't see, I guess I'm curious about Matt and your psychology on that. Like, why do you feel compelled to find a different explanation?
I mean, Santana just asked what would be my reasoning for another one, and that's the only thing I could think of. I'm not disagreeing at all, actually. So I feel like
you're just saying that that's the only kind of stretch that you could actually come up with.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
Besides, security risk. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Just checking.
Santana,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I frequently see people stepping in, not as much on this, but on the things the administration does with those explanations that are more favorable. And I wonder about people's psychology on it because I feel like some people feel maybe attached to the administration, and when the administration does do something that is a blunder, they feel like they have to correct for it themselves as if it says something about them. And I think it's strange, and maybe I'm mischaracterizing it, but I just
Yeah,
wanted to say that.
and well, what I'll say as well, and that's kind of where I thought popcorn was going at first, but I mean the way that he justified it, that's why I said I tend to kind of believe what he's saying, right? At first I thought it was just an actual instance of, blind loyalty, but his logic isn't flawed, so I get it.
Well, I got a big issue with it because I mean, yeah, sure, it's a big deal, but the fact we're blowing it up, um, this information was just found out after we already did the strikes, and it was sent to a reporter from the United States. It's not like it got sent to Yemen themselves.
Mm.
I mean,
Hold,
I
hold on, hold on one second, Hawk. No, no, hold on. Let him finish his thought first. Go ahead. And is it okay if I call you 2.0 because we have another Matt on the panel?
yeah,
Okay, 2.0. Finish your thought.
yeah. So, I mean, someone brought up Russian collusion, like they're working with a whole different country, uh, colluding with a whole different country versus Pete Hegseth accidentally adding a big time reporter that didn't even post it until after. In which, if he would have posted it before they did that to Yemen, that would be horrible. But that would be on him for being that stupid.
Mm.
But
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Real quick. Go ahead, Hawk.
Well, to his last point, the only reason the information was not out before the actual attack occurred is because the journalist that got the information knew better. Had he just been a sensationalist or whatever, he could have ran that story before the event actually happened, which could have caused major problems. But
Yeah, but
because
no one
he
would be that
understood,
stupid.
Hold on one
I
second. Let him
interrupt
finish
you
his. Yeah, let him finish his point 2.0.
because he understood the implications to national security, he didn't run it until after the fact, right? So, understanding your point, the only reason it didn't get out is because the journalist decided, no, this is too important. I can't put that out there yet, or whatever, because it could cause problems. That was pure luck. That wasn't because they did what they were supposed to do. I'd also
Okay.
like to go back to something. I like to go back to something that Popcorn said, because there's another issue as well as what Popcorn said.
Well,
So
may I
the first
respond to
Hold,
thing
you
is
real
it's
quick?
hold on one second. 2.0. I need you to stay on mute for me, my friend. I promise you, I'll come back around to you before we let, or as soon as Hawk finishes, I'm coming right back to you so you
All
can
right.
respond. But just give it a
Thank you.
second. Mm-hmm.
so the way Popcorn was describing, the use of these different apps and programs and stuff like that or whatever. For instance, Signal is encrypted. It's not encrypted to the level it needs to be for what was being done, but it is an encrypted app. So you can understand, maybe, especially as a layperson, how they might have thought it was relatively safe to talk on it. But again, that's still, in terms of protocol, not something that they should have used for discussing certain information, because the higher up you go, or the specifics of what you're talking about, now you need to be in a skiff or something like that. And that's what Popcorn was describing. But the major issue with this Popcorn that we haven't discussed yet is the secondary issue to this happening is how the journalist got on the list of this chat in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't
Yeah.
request to be on it. He got sent an invitation to be in this chat,
Thank
right?
you for the
So
cake.
somebody didn't follow the proper protocols to make sure that everybody that was on the list to be in this chat was classified and had clearance and everything else to even be in the conversation, regardless of the level that they were talking about. They didn't make sure that everybody that was in the chat was had clearance and was supposed to be in there. That's a major issue. So there were two major problems with this.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
technically,
Absolutely. Hold on one second. Hold on one second,
you don't need a
Popcorn. Let
security
me.
clearance to be on
Oh,
the.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Say what you said again, Popcorn. I thought you were about to
I,
go into a deeper
I
thought,
was
but go ahead and
saying
make your comment.
no. I was saying that you don't need a security clearance to be on the app. And then my question is, how long has this group chat been going on? Has he been on there for the last month or two?
All right.
Well, from the breaking of the story and the information I found is the actual the chat started. It wasn't even an entire month before the strike. It was like, I wanted to say it was like 2 weeks at most before, and they were going back and forth trying to make the final decision on whether they were going to actually do it or not, or if they should actually delay those strikes. And so that's where it happened. Let me read these off real quick before we get too far away. Debbie's in the chat for Sir Boppies over on YouTube, who sent a $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much for that $4.99 super chat. Debbie's in the chat for Corey, who sent a $2 donation saying, what they mean is, quotation, I'm waiting for Trump to tell me what I'm supposed to think about it. W's in the chat for Corey for that. W's in the chat for Holly, who sent a $3 donation saying, when are they going to stop making excuses for their mango dictator? It's so exhausting to keep hearing the scripted response. But the one thing that I will, again, I hope I'm not being recorded, but I know I am. I don't think that I've ever given Popcorn credit, but again, at least in this situation, I think he has credibility. I actually believe him on this one. I don't think he's necessarily making an excuse. So, but anyway, guys, thank you so much for that donation. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. If you enjoy the information, education, entertainment, please consider donating. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. Also over on YouTube, you can support with a super chat. Let's do this because Daisy had been waiting. Oh, no. I'm sorry. 2.0, you wanted to respond to what Hawk was saying, and then I want to come to Daisy because Daisy had her hand up, and I see MBM has their hand up as well.
All right. First of all, I don't typically say this, but Santana, I truly do appreciate you bringing 500 people on your platform and being able to talk to me, even though we don't agree on politics.
Yeah, this is late nights, friend. This is what we do.
I agreed with mostly what Hawk said. One thing I completely disagree on is he said it was complete luck that this reporter just decided not to post it. I'm sure any person in that industry knows that that would be a national threat to security and would have enough common sense as an educated person knowing how to speak well and communicate well, would know that they can't post that beforehand.
And you know what? Like, so I thought about that, and like I kind of agree with Hawk though, right? I think like it was a situation where if there would have been like any other someone who's like, oh, I have to break this story, like they would have put it out.
And
And
honestly, I'm truly surprised that they brought it out after. And I wonder, I'm trying to think how fast did Pete Hegseth realize how many days it took him to realize after he sent that text that, oh shit, that other guy's in there. Because
Language, friend. My mom watches this.
yeah, but that's another question because
Well, and so the one thing that he did say as well, for sure, is that he didn't think that it was real. That's another reason why he didn't necessarily run with it as well. He thought that there's no way this could have been real.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah, that's my thoughts with Hawk's response.
Okay. Real quick, because there's a lot of people in the box. I know Jillian, and I know where she falls. Is there anyone else that's requesting up right now? That anyone that's in the request that's actually excited about the direction that the country is heading under this Trump administration? I know. Is there anyone in the Ryan? You are okay. I'll go ahead and get you in. I'll go ahead and get you. I've been trying to find out, Ryan. I don't know if you saw my message, but I kept trying to ask where you fell on this conversation. Okay, perfect. Hold on a second. Yep. I was gonna actually. Oh, perfect. Thank you for that, H. Rutgers. All right. Rhea, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so I mean, a couple minutes ago, it was complete idiocy. Sorry, mind my language. Popcorn said that I simply come to conclusions. I'd like to reiterate, no, I was using the evidence to come to an evidentiary-based conclusion, and I'd like to say that Popcorn's entire argument regarding this is complete speculation. Oh, they probably knew it, or oh, they were probably just using the social media. Your entire line of reasoning is speculation and hasn't been confirmed or denied. Ours has been confirmed. In fact, they are completely disannouncing all of what this is saying, so that's complete idiocy. I'd also like to say, you said that you wouldn't ask Pete Hegseth to step down, which is completely like insane. Because if you look at it, Pete Hegseth, Popcorn, was not even, I mean, we talked about this before you joined. He's not even qualified before he became a Secretary of Defense or whatever, Department of Defense head, because he was, again, he had only managed up to 100 people, had no time in FBI, CIA, or any of that management. All he did was serve time, and that's not enough as a basis to become that head where you're overseeing millions and millions of people. He was known for cheating on his wives, which meant he wouldn't stay loyal to the country, and he also was known for his drinking problems, which is a huge issue when you're in charge of like nuclear codes and things like that. So why on earth do you think Pete Hegseth is still qualified to remain in this position?
Because he's of age and he was
Oh my god.
he was approved by Congress, and I'm not going to say most, but quite a bit of what you said is inaccurate. It's been debunked.
Oh, it hasn't.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Wait. Everyone else on mute except Popcorn. Everyone else on mute except Popcorn. Go ahead, Popcorn.
Now, if you watch the congressional hearings, he did admit that he's made mistakes. He's a human being, and he's made mistakes. As far as me being disingenuous or whatever, I've personally used all of the applications and the equipment that they're currently using right now. I currently use Signal. Like today, I was on Signal for work-related purposes. I've been on classified domains. I've been on unclassified domains. And I'm saying that me speaking from somebody who has been in those positions, that's had those conversations, not to that level, obviously, but a pretty high level, that I can understand how it could get to a point like that, even though it's wrong. But again, we do not know exactly what was messaged. We know what the reporter said was messaged, but we'll find out when the time comes in a day or two.
So let me say this, Popcorn, because again, I normally I don't think I've ever given you credit, so this is weird, but just to make sure that I test your thought process, right? I know, right? It is getting weird. I know.
After this, can I
Hold
respond?
on. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Stay on mute for me, please. Popcorn, just to actually make sure I test your logic or your like consistency. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, that in 3 days it comes out that yep, all of this was verified. Yep, all of this is accurate. Yep, Pete Hegseth completely shat the bed, shall we say? Would you then be calling for him to actually step down or be fired?
I would say that I would not disagree with him being fired, but I would also not disagree with him being reprimanded.
Okay, now that feels a little disingenuous, Popcorn. Like that one doesn't. No, come on, Popcorn.
Well, that's a big deal, dude. I mean, admit it. It's the Secretary of Defense. That's a high level position.
Yeah, but that is a massive F up.
Yes, I know, but again, let's let it play out, and then we'll decide once everything.
But that's what I'm saying. Let's say in 3 days it plays out, and we like verify that everything is accurate. That was, him, like just actually screwing the pooch.
Then yeah, I say go ahead and let him go. Shit.
As you didn't say it with your chest, but okay, give me a second here. W's in the chat for Christopher, who sent a $2 donation, saying it's exhausting hearing these people at times. I feel like I've aged 20 years in this process. Listen, same here. W's in the chat for Christopher. Thank you for that $2 donation, Christopher. You are absolutely too kind, guys. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Keep tapping the screen. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 150,000 likes. Let's get the shares up as well. Rhea, I'm going to come back to you for a second for last thoughts before I switch you out. Anything else that you want to add before I switch you out?
Yeah, I'd like to respond to Popcorn. He literally claimed that the only qualifications for Secretary of Defense were to be of age and to be approved by Congress, which is insane because this guy is going to be like handling millions and millions of people in the military. advising the president on military matters involved in nuclear deals and huge military problems, and to say that, oh, all he needs to be is evasion passed by Congress is actually insane, because Pete Hegseth is by no means a qualified candidate. I've said times and times again, this man has only maximum managed 100 people. It is insane to think he can manage millions and millions of people when none of his management was on law enforcement or FBI or CIA. His only law-related requirement or qualification was that he worked in the military. That is not enough of a qualification to head millions of people. He literally
got a huge problem with that.
Hold on one second,
not enough
2.0.
at all. That's insane of you to say.
Okay, am I
Okay, hold on. Rhea, thank you so much for coming up. I'm gonna go ahead and swap you out, friend, because we got more friendlies in the box. So I'm gonna go ahead and swap you out, okay?
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, give me a second here. So yeah, so you quick response, but then I want to go to Hawk, and then I want to go to Ryan as well, and we haven't even introduced Sweet Baby. So actually, this is what I want to do. Quick response, Popcorn, because I want to keep it moving, and then let me introduce the new people, and then we'll go to Hawk, okay?
Okay, now you want to talk about qualifications. Yes, he is qualified. He did go
He's
through,
not, but okay.
and the qualifications is being of age, which he is, and just consider the presidency, which is a higher level. You got to be the age of 35 or above, and a U.S. citizen, natural born U.S. citizen. So it sounds like you're just emotional and using your opinion.
Whoa, hold on. That's inappropriate, Popcorn. One, actually, that's very inappropriate. Her giving that actual information has nothing to do with emotion. She was actually speaking facts and speaking to the actual information that was listed. I mean, she laid out a very detailed case, and I mean, you know,
emotions. Yeah.
no,
I got
like what? One second. Yeah, hold tight for a second. Just because you heard an inflection in her voice and her speaking with passion doesn't mean she was actually being emotional. She actually laid out multiple layers of facts and different information and actually pressed you on your thought process. That wasn't emotion, friend. I'm sorry. I can say that was emotion, but it wasn't emotional. I mean, she said it with passion, but she wasn't saying it from an emotional perspective. That was absolutely not right. All right. Anyway,
I disagree, but
whatever. Okay, real quick, let's do this. Let's introduce the new people, and then I want to go to Hawk, MBM. We'll do all this other stuff.
I get a
Jillian.
quick response to Rhea. I got disconnected. Takes
Yeah,
20 seconds. All right. My
really quick, go.
Is she says that Governor Hatch has to be defense or whatever. You got to oversee millions of people. That's not true at all. I don't know what she's talking
Well,
about.
no. She said that he's only overseeing hundreds, about 100 people. But when you actually get into that position, you oversee the largest portion of or the largest portion of employees in
She
the
said
government.
millions of people. So I'm wondering where she's getting that from.
Yeah, I don't remember her saying millions of people, but the actual point stands that there's a large discrepancy between the amount of people that he has been in charge of versus the amount of people that he's in charge of now. I think that's the actual point.
Okay, he was in charge of over 100 people in the Army.
Okay.
She said that he's in charge of over millions of people now, which I didn't get what she was trying to say there.
Again, I've already explained that to you, but keep it moving. Like, so are you pushing back on the actual discrepancy as far as how many people that he's led before versus how many people he's leading now?
No, she's just trying to make it sound that he's not qualified. He is qualified.
No, he's definitely not qualified, but okay.
How would you say that the person of defense who's worked in military most of his life isn't qualified for Secretary of Defense?
Cool. Okay. Well, we'll get into that in just a second. Everybody, just hold tight for a moment. I want to introduce the new people. Jillian, how are you?
I'm good, Santana. How are you doing?
Wonderful, Jillian. Real quick, where are you on an excitement level for this administration, 1 to 10?
Oh my gosh. It's up and down and up and down. For a while, I was almost starting to feel optimistic only because I thought maybe that some of the Democratic leaders would step up, but not really seeing what I want to see there. So, yeah. So
Okay.
not great.
Okay, perfect. Give me a second here. Ryan, thank you for being patient. Ryan, where are you? Oh, someone said number, please. Jillian, they want a number. 1 to 10, Jillian. They want a number.
Okay, we'll give it a 0.5. How about
Ah,
that?
that's not on a scale from 1 to 10.
1.
Okay, perfect. 1 second here.
Zero should be on that scale, by the way.
No.
Agreed.
Ryan, thank you for being patient. Ryan, what is your excitement level under this Trump administration scale of 1 to 10? And also tell me why.
Well, I care about truth and I care about the facts. So if you go to my page, there's actually a little 30-second clip of me clipping Chris exactly what he said to me, because I'm back and now I'm at a 7 and now I got receipts to show that I was telling the truth and he was lying.
I'm
So
so confused. Wait, who is this? You what was your name before?
you were the one that blocked me because I brought truth and facts to Chris.
Oh, I
showing that
didn't
he
I didn't
lied.
block you, friend. Like if
Well,
someone
for some
blocked you, it was
reason
one
your
of my
phone.
moderators, but I'm
Well,
sorry, who was
most
I
did.
you were on here earlier. I remember your voice, I just can't remember your name.
Yeah, well, Chris, I said to Chris, because Chris said that there was nothing to keep segregation from being restricted in federal buildings, and he said he didn't say that. Well, I've got it on clip that he did say
Ryan,
it, and
that's
I
your
went,
name, Ryan. Ryan,
yes.
right?
In the
Oh,
US,
yeah.
the Civil
Oh,
Rights
yeah.
Act of 1964, one of the greatest legislations this country has ever administered, and it still protects it. And it was just redundant language that was brought up, and it just brings an optic narrative that people like to fearmonger that like racism is coming back or something like that. And it's
Well,
absolutely not
racism
true.
never went anywhere, but I hear
Can
you,
you
my
play that
friend.
video for us? Can you play it?
It's on my page. All you gotta do is go to my page.
No, I'm not going to play a video. We're actually in the middle of a conversation here, friend. You can stay if you want to continue the conversation, but I don't want to necessarily go back to where you and Chris were.
Hey Santana, I hope you asked me that same question. How excited I am.
Oh,
Well,
I'm sorry.
it
I
was a 6,
apologize.
now
I'll
I'm a
come to
7.
you for that. Okay. So do you actually want to stay in and engage in the rest of the conversation, or
Yes,
did
I
you
do.
just?
Yes, I do. I'm
Okay,
here for good
perfect.
faith debates. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Go back on mute for me. And 2.0,
All right.
I'm sorry. I didn't ask you that question. What about you? 1 to 10, where are you?
Man, I'm a 10, and here's why.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I live in Riverside County, California. Gas is already down $1 from late or early November, late October. We got investments coming in from Saudi Arabia, $1 trillion investment.
What $1 trillion investment?
We can look that up right after this second thing.
No. Just real quick, tell me what $1 trillion investment from Saudi
It's
Arabia?
from Saudi Arabia. We can just, if you want me to look it up now, I can.
No. I just want you to tell me, like, when did this happen? Because I'm confused.
It actually happened a month or two ago, so it's not new news.
$1 trillion investment from Saudi Arabia a month ago?
Month or two ago. It's not new news.
Okay, I'll look it up. Go ahead and keep talking.
Second thing is this gold card. Supposedly they already sold $5 billion worth in the first, I don't know how many weeks.
Where did you get that?
Huh?
Where did you get that news?
All on Google, where we get all our own stuff.
Right, but what site specifically? So you're saying? Oh, sorry, I froze. Can you hear me? There we go. It froze. I'm sorry. So where did you? So they've already released the numbers on the gold card. I mean, I haven't seen any actual substantiation that this was actually being. I'm confused.
They haven't done.
So is it pre-order? Are they pre-ordering the gold cards?
There's a word you just used that I need to use. What'd you say? They haven't reviewed or showed the numbers. What'd you say right now?
I had no idea. I'm just lost for a second.
You said they haven't showed everything yet. Yeah, they said and it's probably more than 1,000 or 5 billion because
right. But where are you getting this information from?
Off Google, off multiple sources that said they
name one, friend. That's what I'm saying. Just one. Give me one.
Yeah, I saw this 4 days ago, so I would have to look it up. But they supposedly sold 1,000 gold cards in a day, which is equivalent to $5 billion.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Just hold tight for a second, because again, yeah. Let's do this. Kate, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. I'm up here to remind just a couple things. For those of you who have come in on sparring and are used to just over talking and, speaking whenever it is that you want, that's not how late nights runs. Stay on mute until you're called on. Don't over speak. Maddie, if you're not in the app, I need you to be in the app. Because you keep doing it.
Sorry, me?
No, not you, Maddie.
Okay, my bad.
Other Maddie, sorry.
Yeah, 2.0. You're referring to 2.0.
2.0.
Mhm.
You keep over talking, you keep coming off mute, and you keep interrupting other people. So I'm going to ask you to please not do that. We keep having to talk to you about it. So,
I'm gonna say Santana runs
Hold
this
on,
live
hold
show.
on. No, you're wrong. Kate, the person in the box in the corner, she actually runs this live. Go ahead, Kate.
if we could keep tapping and hitting a couple gift goals and have some more people in here so that we're not stuck with two people who are completely irrational and believe anything.
Wait, I got the sources for you.
Matt, okay. Hey,
Maddie.
2.0, seriously, stop coming off of
I
mute.
got the sources.
Hey, I hear you. Stop coming off of mute while Kay is speaking. Seriously, stop.
You kind of stopped the whole conversation.
Yeah, no, I listen, I don't care. If you come off mute again, I'm kicking you. Chill out. I'm serious. Stop it. I'm not playing the game right now. Stop coming off mute. Chill out. Okay, go ahead.
Why'd you stop the whole conversation?
Okay, so you want to be a jackass, so you can just leave.
No, not
Seriously.
really.
You can actually just leave. You can actually just leave. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kay.
Okay, so just came up for a mod announcement, hoping that people wouldn't talk over one another, and apparently that really just wasn't going to work for him. Also, just I'm a 0 because I don't like the 1 through 10 scale, and
There you go.
That's not how it's not how the scale works, Kay.
I'm sorry. Did you just say I run this live?
Yeah, but not in this situation. Not in my question. Not in my question.
0 to 10. 0. Also, I just wanted to ask Popcorn, since he's so well versed in, Nipper and all of it. I just want to ask him, why do you think that it would be okay at any point to share any type of classified information on Signal?
Well, thank you for the compliment. And to answer your question, it is absolutely inappropriate to share classified material on Signal.
Great. I just want to make sure that you're clear on that, because the way that
I've
you
been clear for years.
phrased it a couple times made it seem like there would be cases where people who use Signal for work-related things that also use or have access to Skiff or the like would be
Hold on a
using
second, Popcorn.
Signal to be conducting business. And so I just wanted to clarify with you that we're on the same page, that at no time any classified information should be ever shared on a Signal app that is readily available to any Google user.
Right. Just curious, do you use Signal, or do you have access to classified top secret information or domains?
Yes,
Oh, you do?
I do.
Okay.
It's the wrong person to ask that question, Popcorn. Seriously.
Oh,
I'd like to just while Ryan has some things to say, because I feel like I might need to have a little white on white crime at some point in time.
Okay, so before we do that, before I give the floor to Ryan, and I know that there's a lot going on, let me set the record straight on a couple of things. Let me read out a couple of things, and then we'll go from there. Hey, thank you. Going back, the actual article that he was referring to, it came from the Economic Times, but this was actually Howard Lutnick saying that 1,000 gold cars could be sold a day. That's what he was saying. 1,000 could be sold a day. Not that there's already been 1,000 sold in one day. He's saying that there could be 1,000 selling a day. And then he said 37 million people in the world are capable of buying this card. The president thinks that we can sell millions. That's what he said on an actual podcast. So there's that. Also, I found the Saudi Arabia deal. It was an investment. They said they're going to invest $1.3 trillion. I have to read more into this as far as what that actually entails. It says, yeah. So I'm going to read a little bit more into that. Let me read off these donations. W's in the chat for Priscilla, who sent a $5 donation saying, thank you for keeping it real. Priscilla, thank you so much for that $5 donation. You're amazing. W's in the chat for Mark, who sent a $2 donation saying, popcorn is is a hypocrite and would be screaming at the left if this happened with the Biden administration. Also, Hexec is not qualified. I do agree with the last point. I don't think that he would well, I don't know. Now, yeah, I don't know. Also, W's in the chat for Daryl, who sent a $25 donation saying, time up, new opposition, get rid of popcorn. Popcorn has actually been, he hasn't crashed out. So, like, he's still here. He's actually earned his spot for tonight. So, we're going to keep him around as long as he continues to earn his spot. Also, W's in the chat for Holly, who sent a $2 donation saying, popcorn says, let's wait and see, translate to giving the administration time to come up with another lie. Hexet is not qualified like the rest of the cabinet, point blank, period. W's in the chat for Holly. Guys, thank you so much for those donations. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all of the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. If you enjoy the information, education, entertainment, please consider donating. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. And also, W's in the chat for Sir Bobble over on YouTube. I'm sorry I messed up your name earlier. I appreciate you, friend. And over on YouTube, if you would like to donate, you can actually send a super chat, and I will also read your message off. With that being said, NBM, I want to come back to you for a second, friend. Anything else from you before I swap you out and bring more friendlies in?
Yeah, just one last thing. As
Yep.
Trump is deregulating our government before our eyes, I just want to point to the deregulation as part of the mistake. I think that the reason mistakes like this are being made is because Trump is literally cutting our government. I mean, those key positions and all the stuff, we're about to see more as far as the catastrophic cause and effect of what these firings are actually going to do to our federal government. So I just wanted to point part of the blame to that, because government, as we move towards their vision of government efficiency, it seems like inefficiency is about to happen, just due to the fact of accepting the first of many mistakes that we are about to see in this Trump administration.
Yeah, I will say I kind of feel like, yeah, you're absolutely right. I feel like you're absolutely right. I think there's going to be a complete shift, and we're going to see that over and over and over. So yeah, doesn't surprise me, and I actually completely agree with you. Anyway,
Final thoughts? I appreciate you, Santana.
I appreciate you more, my friend. Have a good one.
You too.
Later, Hermes.
Hawk, you've been waiting for a while. I want Jillian to be able to speak as well. Hawk, what did you want to add?
No, just let Jillian go, because Kay covered most of what I was going to cover anyway. And I'm about tired of the circle that we've gone around having the same conversation.
Okay. Jillian, floor is yours. Jillian, I'm going to send you a request to come off. And you guys keep tapping the screen. Let's go ahead and get up to 150,000 likes. Also, we're in a subwave, guys. We're in a subwave. We only need 3 more subscribers to close out our subwave. If you are not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. You get access to member-only lives, members-only chat. You get access to an amazing Discord with a ton of resources and a bunch of really great people. You also get a fast pass to join the panel with Late Nights with Santana, and you get a lot of really cool emotes. So we only need 3 subscribers to actually close out our subscriber goal. So if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. Also, over on YouTube, you can become a member, which is a subscriber, over on YouTube as well, where you actually get more benefits, including the ones that I named. So yeah, if we can close out that that sub wave, that would be awesome. We only need 3 subs. Oh, W's in the chat for Carlo. W's in the chat for Carlo. We only need 2 more to close out that sub wave. Hey, there we go. Jillian, are you there? Jillian going once. Jillian going twice. All right, Jillian, I'm gonna drop you down. I think Jillian might have went to sleep. I think Jillian might have went. I think Jillian might have went night night. Everybody go night night. Everybody go night night. Oh. Let's see here. Buttermilk. I know you were trying to get in earlier. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Holy smokes! Who just sent out all those subs? Hey, W's in the chat for Amber, who sent out 5 subs. You are freaking amazing. Thank you so much. Buttermilk, what would you like to add to the conversation?
I love that you call me Buttermilk, even though that says Buttermilk.
Oh, Buttermilk. I'm sorry.
But it's
Buttermilk.
be Buttermilk. Buttermilk makes
Buttermilk.
everything
Listen,
good.
I know that's right. Listen. I'm sorry. What would you like to add to the conversation?
You ain't even gotta ask me, my dad. You already know where I feel on. I'm with Miss K up there. We going 0, okay? I just wanted to say that, Trump supporters were like, oh, you guys just hate him so much. You're not listening. Y'all just making up stuff. But we literally were pointing out things like he was showing off military plans to some random lady in his house that he had with Millie. That wasn't enough for y'all convince y'all that he's not safe with this information. He had documents in his bathroom and on the stage at Mar-a-Lago, but that wasn't enough to say he is not safe with our information. He is now trying to give this information to Elon. That still is not enough to prove that he is not safe with our information. And then he hires the guy who basically leaks the information. And y'all are still saying, I mean, but maybe, possibly, no, it's all incompetence. And we've been trying to say this from the beginning.
Buttermilk, listen to him talking. The only thing that I could think of is,
why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god. Stop fucking lying.
I don't believe him. I don't believe him. Like, yeah. Okay, and we have Jillian back. Jillian, I don't know if Jillian, what would you like to add?
Honestly, I might need to take a step back for a minute. My daughter was in here giving me a hard time, and I kind of missed the last 10 minutes of the conversation.
Yeah, okay, no worries. Priscilla, how are you? Oh, Priscilla, I just sent you a request to come off mute. Priscilla, are you there? Priscilla going once. Priscilla going twice. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and drop you down. Echo, how are you, friend?
I'm good. Thank you for bringing me on.
Thank you for being here. What would you like to add?
Feel like I'm just gonna not to use the pun, but echo what everybody else is saying. It took me like a 20-second Google search to come up with 4 instances where Trump has publicly, or the Trump administration, right, has publicly shown really concerning evidence against keeping our secrets. And yet here we are, we're 2.5 months into this administration, and already seeing, a faux pas like this just baffles me. I also wanted to go back really quickly, if we can, to the head
Mhm.
ziff. I think what people are not understanding is just like in any other job, right? We have an expectation that somebody is going to be, or at least meet the qualifications of their predecessors.
Mhm.
And so, to Popcorn's point, he's correct that the only true necessary qualifications are the things that he pointed out. However, he doesn't even meet near what his predecessors have all brought to the table. That's where he's unqualified. And I think that's a sticky point. They always want to come back and argue that point. Oh, he does meet the qualifications. You're all ridiculous. You're all wrong. But he doesn't when you use just basic hiring practice. Basic hiring practice is that we look at right? What is the position they're filling and what is their predecessors shown and what has that been? And you're looking for better and or equivalent. So I'd be curious if Popcorn thinks he is better and or equivalent to any of the prior secretaries of defense.
Popcorn, would you like to speak on that?
Yep. So this is kind of going down another road, but yes, I do think that he is needed more than the status quo that we've seen over the last several decades. I think that the Pentagon has gotten totally out of control, and I think that just take a look at 2003, actually 2002, when Colin Powell went to the United Nations and advocated for a war in Iraq based on WMDs that weren't there, and it's like a cesspool of being bloated, I guess is the proper term, and it's time to clean house, and that's why I think that he's best there than somebody who is a career political four-star general type of person. Absolutely.
Okay, but that wasn't my question. My question was, do his qualifications match or exceed his predecessors? Not what you believe he can bring to the table today and the different, but do his qualifications match or exceed?
Well, the people that predated him obviously had more experience, but that's not what we need today.
Wait. So your premise is we don't need people leading our military that actually have military experience?
No, we need to press reset. So it's time to press the reset button.
Why?
And that's what Trump did.
Wow.
So then you would then concede that he is not qualified comparatively, utilizing normalized hiring practices.
Well, if corruption is
Not corruption, qualifications. We're
a
not talking
level of
about what.
qualification, then no, I would not say that he's an insider. Absolutely not.
Okay.
Can I ask a secondary question now?
Sure, go ahead, and then I want to kick it to Ryan after you. Go right ahead.
So all of that aside, and I hate that you used the example of Colin Powell because that was just all kinds of wrong. But all of that aside, you're also talking about an individual that needs to be able to manage a multi-billion-dollar budget and several million personnel between the military and the civilian personnel that work for the DoD. That experience alone is necessary. Take the military part out of it. You need to have somebody who has the experience enough to be able to manage 1.5 million to 2 million personnel, as well as manage a multi-billion-dollar budget. You don't think that's necessary?
Oh, I'm sorry. So, just curious, who runs the Pentagon?
DoD runs the Pentagon.
Okay, and who's over DoD?
Right now, Pete Hegseth.
And when was the last time the Pentagon passed a audit?
You think it's going to pass one now?
Well,
Welcome in, Jessica Simone Reid.
I mean, that's my point.
But that's a different conversation because that, for me,
Clearly,
that's
the
actually
people that came before.
Hold
Right.
on.
So the people that came before Pete has
hold on a
couldn't run
second.
the
I'm trying to
Pentagon.
answer your. I'm trying to answer your question because again, I hear you. I think that's a separate conversation because for me, that's a congressional conversation because they didn't pass the audit and Congress didn't do nothing about it, which they could have. So that's as much, if not more, on Congress than it is on DoD. That's number one. Number two, putting somebody in that doesn't have the experience based on precedent that Echo was talking about is not going to improve on that because there's nothing in his background, his resume, his CV that's going to show that he's going to be able to do anything better to improve on being able to pass a budget, an audit. I'm sorry.
Right. So based on the last, I don't know how many audits. I don't know when the last time they passed one, but I don't
It's
think
been
he
6
can
or
do any
7
worse.
that they failed.
Right. So I don't think they could do much worse, especially if they're cutting. So it can only go up from where it's at.
But Echoes and my point is that he's not going to do as well because he does not have the experience on any level. Again, I will give you a pass on the military, although I think you're completely wrong because he was a low-level major in the National Guard. So that's not even enough military experience if you ask my personal opinion. But the other is he does not have management experience, period, to be able to manage an organization that big with that large of a budget. So he's not going to do as well as his predecessors.
Well, if he's taken any notes over his years of service, as you know, and I guess you were a Marine, right? So in the
Yes, I was.
Army, so in the Army, let's say the brigade level. So the brigade commander in '06 controls the entire brigade. That brigade commander doesn't know everything. So what he does is rely on the people that he has um, at his disposal, right? So he has people there that know what they're doing, that know everything inside and out, but he's the top dog that's making the decisions.
You're actually making my point.
Yeah.
I agree with that assessment, but here's the issue. Because the president would fall into that role as well, right?
Right.
Because you can't know everything. But you're in the case of the president, it's his cabinet. In the case of a brigade commander, a battalion commander, a regimental commander, whatever, it's staff, right? Their staff are the subject matter experts in all those different fields, and they brief the commander on those things. And because of the commander's experience, as well as the subject matter expertise that he's getting from his staff, then the commander he or she can make the appropriate decision. We've got a bunch of people who have no experience. So no matter what information they get, we have no idea what's going to come out because they don't have the experience to make those types of decisions. So in my mind, you just made my point.
Well, I would say if we were in a major war or even a war like Iraq, I would say that he wouldn't be the right person for that job. But right now, trying to get out of that war between Russia and Ukraine before it gets out of hand, and I think that we're trying to reel in and clean house and press the reset button. I think he's exactly precisely what America needs in that position.
I got a quick question.
Go right ahead, please.
So, what's your feeling, Popcorn, on the vice president's wife going to Greenland to negotiate anything?
Well,
Is she qualified?
I would say if she's good at negotiating, I mean, why not?
What have you seen her negotiate?
That's why I said if she's good at negotiating, why not send her? I mean, maybe she's a good fit for that. Maybe she asked for it.
We have
I don't know.
policies. We have like we do this ways you do stuff. That's not one of them. Like, oh, if you did good negotiate, we're gonna send you over there to negotiate whether or not we take over your country.
Well, we're not going to take it over. If we end up buying it, see, we've been trying to buy Greenland since 1947.
And I wonder why we haven't.
Maybe Denmark hasn't wanted to sell it yet, but I know Russia.
Not yet. They are very steadfast on not wanting to actually sell it at all. So let's do this because I want to keep it moving around the panel. I want to make sure that we get a chance for everybody to speak. And also want to read this off real quick. W's in the chat for Christopher, who sent $1 donation, saying Popcorn seems to think that credentials and experience don't matter anymore. Wild. Yeah, I mean, basically. W's in the chat for Jacob, who sent $1 donation, saying Guitar Hero, Tyler Hero, my mom's hero, Guitar Hero, Tyler Hero, my mom's my hero, and Lakers in 5. My man, keep it going. You're doing great. Thank you for tuning in every time. Thank you for all the love. Thank you for that $1 donation, Jacob. You are absolutely far too kind. Guys, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. If you enjoyed the information, education, entertainment, please consider donating. Everything's accepted. Anything's appreciated. And over on YouTube, you can definitely send a super chat. Ryan, I want to come back to you because it's been a while since you've had an opportunity to speak. And I also want to come to Jillian. And I also want to come back to Kay because Kay, I want to do a thing. And yeah. So anyway, go ahead. What up, Jess?
I mean, I don't know if I got too much to say. I mean, I'm someone who is against Hegseth and what he did, and I don't think he's qualified. I think in Trump's opinion, he's the most qualified person that's going to be super loyal to him.
Mm.
And I mean, I see that. I see it as a way of Trump trying to circumvent the gridlock that happens, and he's trying to get as much stuff done that he wants to get done. And I think that's what most people that voted for him kind of wanted. Just knowing that he wasn't like originally in 2015, 2016, knowing he was an outsider, knowing he wasn't a career politician, coming in and trying to run the country kind of like a business and shake things up a little bit. I think that a lot of people wanted to see this as kind of like an experiment in some way. In some ways, it's not going great, but I mean, this isn't unprecedented for like Hillary Clinton. She was way more qualified than Hegseth, and she had similar behaviors with putting classified information on private servers. I would argue that she was doing it on basic email servers, where Hegseth was using it on Signal, which is actually a very safe encrypted app that even Edward Snowden used when he wanted to get out his whistleblowing because he knew how safe it was. It's not safe to invite a journalist into the group. That is a huge problem and a mistrust of everything. And I believe it has something to do with the drinking problem. I think he needs to go. I think
I didn't
whether
want
you're
to
Democrat,
speculate, but you know.
yeah, whether you're Democrat or Republican, putting classified information and being reckless with it has got to have repercussions for it. And so that's the boat I'm on.
Kay. Oh, Kay, are you there? Oh,
Yes.
what would you like to add?
I would like Ryan to restate his point about segregation.
Oh, okay.
What about it? I'm completely against segregation. Civil Rights Act of 1964, it makes it completely illegal throughout the country, and I think it's one of the greatest pieces of legislation that we've ever written.
Do you not see a problem with what is now allowed in federal buildings?
It's not allowed though. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 completely does not allow that. Also, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission also has strict regulations against segregation. So the language that was taken out was language that was in DEI initiatives put in by Obama, and it was just very redundant language that is already restricted in other codified laws.
What?
There's
Obama
been a
pushed
lot of things that has been, codified in laws that is still happening today. So why would you think that that piece of legislation is going to hold up when multiple other pieces haven't?
I don't think the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is going anywhere. I don't think anybody's arguing for it to go anywhere. I would never support that. And I just think saying that segregation is allowed now or anything close to that, I think is a level of fear mongering.
If I may, I hear what you're saying. Maybe you're not aware that Trump signed an executive order that rolled back LBJ's executive order on civil rights. Were you aware
right.
of this?
No, which one?
I don't know. You'd have to look up the number. I don't know the number, but he
Yeah, I can
wrote an
pull it up, but yeah, he did.
he wrote an executive order that rolled back LBJ's executive order that gave the Secretary of Labor the authority to ensure equal opportunity for people of color and women in federal contractors, recruitment, hiring, training, and other employment practices. He rolled all that back. And that's the issue that we've been making, which is why Kay asked you the question. Somebody said earlier in the live or whatever, they're trying to roll this back to pre-1965 before we had civil rights in this country.
Yeah. And it's my understanding that it doesn't say segregation is banned in the Civil Rights Act, but just that discrimination is, which is not the same as segregation.
And to your point, using the phrase DE, and I'm going to use the correct phrase, DEIA or whatever, they're using that as a dog whistle. I don't know if you get that or not, but every marginalized community in this country does. They're using that as a dog whistle to take rights away from these marginalized groups, because DEIA does not mean what they told you it means.
I have a question for Ryan.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's an interesting twist. Go ahead, popcorn.
Ryan, would you agree that that over the last several years that they've used DEIA now as a way to label boys who are transitioning to become girls to go into
Hey, popcorn, hold on one second. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Yep, popcorn. Can't talk about that on TikTok, so we are not going to have that conversation. That is not a topic that we can talk about on TikTok.
Oh, but I digress.
Okay.
Well, I think Hawk was just paying me back for stealing his question earlier while, now stealing my question. I'll get with you after this, after that.
Uh-huh.
So, Ryan, what
Yes.
what we're saying here is since multiple laws are in existence that prevent, and I use prevent with quotations because they aren't actually followed, why do you think that this rollback would be any different?
So I'm still reading of this executive order that you're talking about, and I guess what's this word? So it looks like everything from the Civil Rights Act covers all of these things as far as discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, national origin. And a lot of this is being characterized as programs to cut spending where they can. And the language is redundant of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 because it's already prohibited explicitly.
Hey, Ryan, in 1964, as part of the law that you're speaking of, was redlining made to be against the law?
I don't know that. I'm not sure about that.
Okay. So is redlining against the law?
I don't know.
No.
Do you know what redlining is?
He does not.
No, it's where they systematically deny services like mortgages and stuff, right?
Right. You don't know if it's against the law?
Well, yeah, I'm just reading about it. So,
Okay. So redlining is against the law.
okay.
In 2022 and 2023 and 2024, 8 very large banks, including Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of America, were all found to still be redlining. So I ask you again.
That's not right.
The protections that are in the law you keep going back to and saying everything's protected and we're not going to change anything. Why do you think further things have had to come out on top of that law in order to protect minority groups and people of color?
Well, I think that's a specific. Yeah, that's not okay. But what I'm saying is the executive orders that he did get rid of, there wasn't anything new. I think redlining constitutes something new that's not explicitly stated in the Civil Rights Act.
Ryan, I need you to track this conversation. We are not just talking about one thing.
Okay.
We're talking about where these executive orders are leading to. And it seems like you haven't read up and are not knowledgeable enough to go with this conversation, but you had a loud and wrong opinion of that executive order. And then
What was my wrong opinion?
You said segregation's not allowed anymore.
The Civil Rights Act of 1964 explicitly states
And
that.
this is your constant response back.
Well, does it not say that? I don't know.
Did you? Hey, Ryan. Hey,
federal
Ryan.
buildings are just going to have segregation in them
Hold on,
now?
Ryan.
I guess
Hey,
I don't know.
do
Yes.
you remember what Kay just said? Like just maybe about 3 minutes ago, talking about those banks.
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember how she brought up the fact that redlining is illegal?
Yes. And so is
And then
murder.
you remember how she said the banks still did it?
Murder's illegal. People still do
Right,
it.
right, but no, we're not talking about
Ryan, family
schmurder.
friendly
Exactly,
language.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
exactly. And we're not talking about schmurder. We're talking about what I said specifically. Right.
Yes.
So
Were
it,
they held accountable?
yeah, they were. But the point is, just because it's quote unquote illegal doesn't mean that it's not going to happen.
Correct.
That's the point.
Right. I mean, I think we agree there.
So, I mean, like using your example, Ryan, of unaliving somebody, it is also against the law to be found with almost 200 pounds of a certain substance.
It sure is.
Would you agree that that would be illegal?
I would agree with that.
And would you also agree it still happens?
Yes,
I bet you would.
I do.
Yeah. I think your personal knowledge on the topic would maybe behoove you to go back and read some other things that are currently against the law that are still happening today.
I understand that. And
Great. So
I
why
don't
don't you hit those Googles that you keep finding things on, find some reputable sources, and then come back and join us some night when you're all read up.
well, what do I need to read up on?
Oh wow.
Can I comment on
You
that?
tell me. I'm just letting I mean, what?
I think you need to
Well,
look into things that are still redlining is segregation. Like I don't know how you don't understand that. In the city of Chicago itself was built for segregation by concrete and man-made to
Wait.
segregate.
So I thought that these banks were caught and they were held accountable.
that's just it, though. They had to be caught.
They were So what you're saying is that as long as there's laws on the books,
That's what we I mean, that's what we do to
no,
make sure things are
what we need
illegal.
to do is to stop the racism, which is what we keep talking about. And just because there's laws there does not mean that the behavior stops.
Oh, I mean, who's the we in stopping the racism? Because unless
Us
you're
white
talking
people, white people.
all white people. I mean, I'm not racist, so don't
Oh,
put me in that category.
I yes, you
The,
are.
the,
Inherently,
No,
you
I'm
the
are.
fact that
see.
you had to
I'm
say
going to
that.
give you. I'm going to
That's
give.
the issue. That's the
Hold
problem
on,
that we
Ryan.
have here.
Let me show you how. Okay. Would you be willing to just do one exercise with me, and then we can let the panel have their discussion, and you can drop down.
I would love to.
I actually got a game I want to play too, but anyway, go ahead.
Okay.
I have a question before you
Hold on.
guys.
No, no, real quick,
No, no
Hold
one's
on, hold
dropping
on,
him.
hold on,
No one's
hold on, real
dropping
quick.
him. No, he's
Ryan,
not going anywhere.
Ryan,
Yes,
name a black person.
Michael Jordan.
Anyway, go ahead, Kay.
What?
Go ahead, Kay.
What happened?
Okay. Here's how you might want to reframe your thoughts about just blatantly saying I'm not racist, because we all have inherent biases, all of us. And the way I can tell you this is just this. Are you able-bodied, Ryan?
I sure am.
Okay. You are inherently ableist. You view a world from an able-body's perspective. You understand that?
Yep. Yeah.
So sometimes, as able-bodied, we don't see obstacles that are, to everybody else that may not be able-bodied. We don't see that, right?
Depends on your experience. But yeah, I mean, Keep going.
So, words like LAME or SLOW. Have you
Okay.
ever possibly used those?
Yeah.
Okay.
LAME.
Both of those are ableist terms. Okay? So, when we
Okay.
talk about topics like this, and I don't know why the nervous chuckle, this is literally just a lesson. And besides
Because
my day job, this is what I do, is deconstruct and decolonize my own people. So what I'm saying to you is inherently we all have biases, and they start just at about 6 months old. There are studies that show, and you can say that you don't do anything outwardly racist, but that doesn't mean that you don't inherently have biases that you still need to work on. So I implore you, with you saying that we have the Civil Rights Act, and you just keep going back to that, that's your answer for everything during this conversation, is I would go read some more and find out how we as white people have done this and how we still perpetrate harm sometimes, even if it's not the intent. But the impact will always be more important.
I guess it's how you define racism, but I don't
No,
think because you have biases that you are a racist person.
the definition of racism doesn't matter because definitions do not tell you how things work.
I think the definition is kind of relevant.
Okay, so if I ask you the definition of lungs, and this is the last example because I would like to move past you and do whatever Santana wants to do. If I ask you the definition of lungs, what would you say they are? I don't need you to look it up Merriam-Webster style. I just need you to tell me, would you say they're an organ in the body?
Yes.
And it might say like that helps with, breathing?
Yep.
Great. Would they tell you how they work?
No.
Exactly. So the definitions of words
might. If I go to Merriam-Webster, I'm not.
No,
sure.
it doesn't. It doesn't tell you how it works. Just like if you look up the definition of car, it doesn't tell you how it works. It just tells you that it's a motorized vehicle, with wheels. So there's more digging and more education that could be had. So all I'm asking you to do is do a little bit more of that.
I would ask the same of you.
I have a question for Kay.
I mean, if anybody can show me where.
Can I ask
Ryan,
Kay
I
a
am
question?
misguided. I am open ears.
Well, she's been telling you you're not listening.
I am listening.
One quick question, Ryan. Does systemic racism still exist in this country?
Depends how you define systemic racism.
Oh my goodness, we just went through this.
Hold on.
What's
we're
the
not gonna
definition
play this
of
game. He can go learn on his own. Santana, what do you want to do?
I have a question for Kay though, about redlining.
Well, I just wanted to say closing, and I was going to drop. I thought that Trump supporters had a reading comprehension problem, but I also see they have a math problem too, because they are incapable of figuring out 1 + 1 is 2. If you take away all the laws that say you have to diversify and then revoke a law that says segregation is okay, 1 + 1 equals we ain't all equal. Good night.
Thank you so much for coming up.
joining us tonight.
Can I do an experiment with you, Kay?
It's buttermilk, Kay. Thank you, buttermilk.
I know how to read people's names. I will not just.
And we changed it when she got up here. It's buttermilk.
No, Santana, only you could call me that.
Oh, well, I get to call her buttermilk.
So
Thank you for coming up.
Your experiment. Can I get my experiment?
Real quick before you do that, Chris, hold on, just 2 seconds. Hold on, Chris. What would you like to add to the conversation?
I just been kind of listening so far. Kind of agree with everybody. Trump's really destroying America, and we got to do something about it quick.
Okay. So Kate, yeah, I got a question for Kate about redlining.
What popcorn?
What was one of the main causes of the 2008 housing crisis.
Hold on one second. W's in the chat for Watch My Legs. What up, Sean, who sent out 2 subs over on Twitch? Thank you so much for sending out those subs on Twitch. You're absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Sean. Go ahead.
Okay.
Popcorn?
Do you got an answer?
I did answer you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. What did you say?
Why don't you tell us, Popcorn, since you just needed to interject here?
Oh, no, I'm just asking you if you knew what caused the 2008 housing crisis.
Donald Trump.
The big bubble. No, Trump didn't play any role in that.
Thanks, Trump.
So, interest rates, easy credit, and lending practices. Are you familiar with those?
Hey, chat, can we get some thanks, Trump, in the chat? Just a bunch of thanks, Trump. Thanks, Trump.
Popcorn, can you
Popcorn,
be
as
specific
a
on what
A
lending
lot of the
practices?
claims. Yeah,
Popcorn, as a multiple property owner,
as am I.
I do understand the terms. Can
Okay.
you move on?
Yep. So there was a lot of claims and protests and a lot of hoo-ha going on prior to the housing crisis of 2008, which led to the economic collapse and all that. And what these groups like Acorn, I don't know if you're familiar with Acorn. I've been following them for 20 plus years, but them and groups like them would go from bank to bank, protesting in banks, disrupting them, and getting with their representatives that represent their district, and then even outside of their district, to force the banks to lend to people that did not have the credit or did not have the.
That's not true.
Checks. It is true. It's 100% true. I've read Too Big to Fail. They even made a movie about it, although they don't quite discuss that. But yeah, if you read the book,
The part that isn't true is no outside group could force a bank to break the law.
No, but you could
They did
disrupt
that
them to
because
the
that's what
point.
they wanted. They did that because that's what they wanted to do to make a profit.
They did that because of pressure, and it's well documented now. And what they used is redlining. The term redlining, and discrimination against minorities who were seeking to get home loans, and basically they were just giving anybody, even if you had a job or not, at some point they were giving people without a job home loans. Why? Because they
Hey, popcorn.
Yeah.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god. Stop you fucking lying.
That is not true, popcorn. That is absolutely not true. That is absolutely not true. I know what subprime loans are, but that's not true.
Personally, with my own eyes, I've seen it personally with.
So who you gonna believe, me or your raggedy ass eyes? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kay.
My eyes, because I've seen it with my own eyes. But yes, so this today's claim about redlining, kind of makes me feel like we're starting to repeat of what was happening in the late '90s, early 2000s that caused the economic collapse of specifically the housing market. So, do you want to respond to that, or just stick to the claim that it's just pure racism?
Well, redlining that these banks today, not in 2008, that these banks were found was racism. But what you're talking about,
which is the same claim back then,
what you're talking about disproportionately actually affected white people. More loans were given to white people for that housing crisis because they were white, and they were like, they'll handle the payment.
Because
they
were to do so, yes, because they were forced.
No, not because they were forced. No bank has ever been forced to give out a loan.
My point.
Okay, not forced, but pressured to do so.
Not pressured.
Whatever.
Not anything.
Santana, what do you want to do? Because I would like to
move on. Do you want to move on?
Whatever you want to do, Kay.
I'd like to ask. Oh, sorry.
You said you wanted to do something.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to play the game anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. Echo?
I just wanted to ask Ryan, he keeps going back to the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is somehow going to make moot this executive order that Trump put in. But my question is, did Trump ever say that? Did he say he was doing something for redundancy, or is this just another way that we're doing mental gymnastics to try to
No, he said
justify
the White
okay.
House said it.
He said that was why. He
They
didn't
said
say
it.
it was to end the illegal discrimination and restore merit-based opportunity. He
It
said it was
was
because of redundancy.
yes. It might have been the White House or the secretary, but that was the
Didn't he
wording.
say something more specific like ending the illegal DEI? Isn't
He
that what he said?
absolutely did. The direct quote is ending illegal discrimination and restoring merit-based opportunity. He didn't bring up the redundancy of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 in any way.
Title VII of the Civil Rights Act says you cannot discriminate for any cause whatsoever,
Right,
even
we're
if it's
not,
a
but
good
I'm not
cause.
asking you that. What I'm asking you is you
But
consistently
I'm
keep
just
saying
telling you
that was
that
the
DEI is
rationale
illegal
and reason,
constitutionally.
right?
DEI doesn't do that, sir. It is not illegal. Please stop repeating the same lie.
Thank you.
Don't make me
I
play the song.
agree.
And
But
Ryan,
when
please stop over
you
talking while Echo
prioritize
is
hiring a
talking.
certain race, that is
No, it
discriminatory.
does not. It does not do that, Ryan. It does not
That's not
prioritize
what
any
DEI does.
That
particular
absolutely
race.
is not.
All right, well, we will bring up sources to counteract each other. How about that exercise?
And I got
Okay,
sources too.
that's cool.
Are you a
All
supervisor
right.
of a large organization where you practice and have to fall under DEI practices for hiring? Because I am. And it absolutely does not do that. And I have been for 20 plus years, and it absolutely does not do that.
Okay, let's bring up sources, please.
You first.
All
Go
right.
for it. I just gave my source. I do it every day. This is how I hire people.
Trust me, bro, is all
My
I hear.
Thank
go
you for the
for it.
butterflies.
Find
Also,
me a
welcome
better
in
one.
Erica Raid. Welcome in Erica Raid. So cool. What I would like to speak to is the ACLU, which is the ACLU of Washington, which it breaks down the actual executive orders and talks about Trump's DEIA initiative and how it targets those in those initiatives. And it also speaks to how, quote, programs are labeled as DEIA encompass a broad range of lawful initiatives that create fair workplaces to ensure opportunities aren't limited based on race, ethnicity, disability, sex, sexual orientation, or gender identity. It goes on to actually talk about how, like multiple factors around this and what Trump is trying to do to actually target these things and blah, 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 blah. So, point being is that there is nothing that actually speaks to, and oh, they also talk about Executive Order 11246, which is the actual order, executive order that Donald Trump put out. But again, it just breaks down the information and the basis behind how DEIA is not about giving anyone some type of unfair initiative, and it is about lawful protections that give you equal opportunities, that you are judged on your merit, not based on your race, not based on your ethnicity, not based on your being or having a disability, not being based on sex, not being based on sexual orientation, or not being based on gender identity. That's the point. Now, what's your opposing?
I mean, there's a court case, Students for Fair Admissions versus Harvard. They were using the DEI practice to
What's the actual case number?
Just type in Students for Fair Admissions versus Harvard.
Is that where I bet I know what this one is. This isn't about DEI. Exactly. This isn't about DEI. This is not about DEIA. It is not about DEIA. Ryan, are you sure you want to use that one?
No, man, I don't know.
You definitely don't want to use that one. It's not about DEIA. You definitely don't want to use that
So
one.
I have to ask this question
I got a source.
just to get a level understanding of what Ryan thinks DEIA is. Are you confusing DEIA
With affirmative action. Yes, he absolutely is. He's absolutely, that's why he gave us a source for affirmative action and not DEIA.
I also know that there's a difference between the two.
L's in the chat for Ryan.
Then why bring up a case about affirmative action?
Because he didn't know.
So who on here said that they do stuff with HR every day?
If you do stuff with HR every day, that
I
has
run
to
a
suck.
very large organization. I have over 200 staff under me across the state. I also did that previously across all of the Western districts.
Okay, do you deal with federal contracts or anything like that, or work with
I
the government?
absolutely do. I currently hold 4 federal contracts, one that Trump is trying to dismantle.
Are you familiar with the Human Capital Framework?
Oh, Lord.
No.
Tell me
Yeah.
about it. Tell me about it.
So you don't work with the federal government, because if you did, then you would know about the Human Capital Framework that has a point system based on veterans, minorities, and all that stuff, and how
I
these
do work with
DEI
the federal government.
I
We
do.
absolutely, I have HRSA contracts. I currently hold 3.
Okay, so you know about, or you should know about the Human Capital Framework. If not, then I mean, it's kind of strange, but that is a must. That is a must that you know. And what they do is base everything off of a checklist. This is the first part of what I'm going to say. They base everything off a checklist, and based on your point systems and your historic point systems year by year, determines if you're going to maintain that contract or the potential chance of getting a future contract. And what that point system is based after 2012, largely based on DEI. And
That's not true.
it's 1,000% true. I got it right here.
It's not. Yeah, I got it right here on the screen as well. I got it on the screen. Yeah.
Literally just got granted a
I'm looking
HRSA
at the same
contract. I know
thing.
exactly what
Title
he's talking
V,
about.
Chapter 1,
It has
Subchapter
nothing
B,
to do
Part
with
two.
those things.
Everybody
got
pause.
everything to do with it.
Everybody pause. I came up here before and said we're not over talking. If Echo is talking, you're going to wait until she's finished, and then you are going to respond when it's your turn.
Okay, so
Echo, please finish.
Oh, I just love when they bring these things up. Sorry, let me catch my breath from my excitement. So, the point system that you're talking about, Popcorn, first of all, there's a couple different layers. One, I just want to say you're not correct in how that's utilized. 2, the point system that's utilized in grant-based contracting, right, is based on a litany of things. The largest being, to be quite frank, just how you put together your grants and contracts request and your budget. That is your largest points. So
and
as an
hiring
example,
practices.
the one that I just put through, we got like, I think it was 260 out of the possible 320 points. And it was really just because I have a phenomenal grant writer, nothing to do with me, who just knew how to organize the information. As far as you're talking about with, I don't even know how to, I'm going to let Santana put that back up there.
Yeah. Give me a second. Also, W's in the chat for Christopher. Christopher sent a $2 donation saying, one more donation, I promise. Can we get some W's in the chat for K? We can always get some W's in the chat for K. W's in the chat for K, W's in the chat for Christopher. She makes this thing happen and advocates for the people like no other. Love her to death. Absolutely. W's in the chat for K. Thank you so much for that $2 donation. And W's in the chat for Christopher. W's in the chat for K. Guys, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. All the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. If you enjoy the information, education, entertainment, please consider donating. Everything is accepted. Anything's appreciated. Over on YouTube, you can send a super chat, and I will read that super chat off. And also, if you're watching on YouTube right now, like the live. Like the live. Let's get those likes moving. Please and thank you. I only need I think 5 more followers on YouTube to get up to 3,000 followers. So if you're not following me on YouTube, make sure you follow me on YouTube at Santana Speaks over on YouTube. All right, I got it up, Echo.
Thank you. Sorry, I pulled it up on my side too. I was more hoping that Popcorn could show us in there where it shows that we all follow DEI practices for human capital framework after 2012. I mean, we know this, Kay, but I just wanted to give him the opportunity.
Okay, so we all know prior to before then, the word diverse wasn't even in there. So that's been updated in there. But if you read,
Wait, so the word diverse is what makes it DEIA because they say diverse?
no, all right. So let me explain to you how it works because I know this firsthand, seeing it.
Okay, go ahead and demonstrate it for me, Popcorn.
All right. So it goes off a point system. Prior to 2012, there was a point system based on your veteran status. If you're disabled, minorities, women, and all that stuff. But after 2012, that check list, that point system changed, and not only that, but it also included a while it's not listed a certain percentage, the DEI agents or representatives for the government that would assess these submissions that these companies were submitting, and they were subject to annual reviews, had to meet a certain percentage of people that applied and hired based on their background, whether it is a woman, a veteran, all that stuff. And each
Yeah,
year,
Popcorn. Popcorn, you're saying
you had to
Popcorn.
show an improvement each year.
Popcorn, you're saying a bunch of nothing, friend.
No,
Also, we are
no,
getting
that's what it is.
we're getting a Parker raid over on YouTube. Welcome in, Parker raid over on YouTube. Guys, make sure you're following me. Make sure you're following me if you're watching over on YouTube and you are coming in over on this Parker raid from YouTube. And it looks like we're getting a Parker raid over on TikTok as well. All right. W's in the chat for everybody coming in. Make sure that you like the stream over on YouTube and give me a follow if you're coming in from the Parker raid on TikTok as well. Go ahead and tap the screen, share the live, do all the wonderful things. Thank you all for being here. You all are absolutely amazing. Thank you all. Popcorn, you didn't actually point out where in the actual document that you said that since 2012 we are now following DEIA.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out the point system that they have.
But you also said that after 2012 that we're following DEIA, right, and we're not. Okay.
So it's not a thing.
It's not. Anyway, okay.
No, it's compliance with labor policies,
If it's not a thing, right? So if it's not a thing, then what's the all hooting and hollering that Trump is he's eliminating DEI. So what's the problem? If it doesn't exist, what's the problem?
No, I'm saying what you just said as far as the human capital framework. DEI does not determine the human capital framework. You brought up the human capital framework and it's not listed in DEIA is not listed there. W's in the chat for Phil who sent a $3 donation saying this dude hasn't competed for a government contract. Contracts are awarded based on price, compliance to requirement, which does not include DEIA, and solutioning. He has never read an RFP before. W's in the chat for Phil. Thank you so much for that $3 donation, Phil. You are absolutely amazing, guys. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24, best way to support the live. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can send a YouTube super chat and I will send it out. Kay has her hand up. Kay, floor is yours.
Actually, I'd like Echo to respond because she's making the point that needs to be made about the compliance. And
how do we
that's
put our hand up?
My question. I put it in the chat,
okay, good to know, because I'm just down there arguing in the chat.
Hawk sometimes will pop on his camera and put his hand up, or but whenever we see it, then we put you in the rotation. But I feel like I heard what you were starting to say, and I wanted you to finish that thought.
Thank you. I think our super user said it for me, but you're conflating compliance with labor laws, Popcorn, with DEI. And so when you see that it says that yes, to engage in and get a federal contract, we have to show evidence of compliance with labor policies and labor laws. compliance in general, right? That is not
Generally
based
20%.
on, again, that is not DEI. Labor policies are not DEI. My initial thought is DEI is in place for individuals like you that would most likely not hire somebody based on things that were not just qualification. That is why DEI is important. DEI is important because 25 years ago, when I first started doing this work, despite having higher credentialing, more experience, and all of those things, I was not put into a leadership position because I lived in an incredibly red state and I don't have lily white skin. That is why DEI is important.
Well, the problem with DEI is it's not based on merit.
It
It is
absolutely
based on merit.
It's
Oh,
it's
sorry,
all
Kay,
right.
go ahead.
All right, so
Hold, hold on, guys. Everybody, just hold tight for a second. W's in the chat for Godzilla over on YouTube said that who sent a $4.99 super chat saying the speakers are low. Guys, is it that you can't hear me or you can't hear the actual people talking? I need to know, YouTube, is it that you can't hear me? Do I sound low, or does it sound low as far as the people on the panel actually speaking? I need to know so I can make that adjustment. Popcorn, go ahead, but I might ask you to stop again, just depending on what they say with the sound.
yeah, you sound fine to me, by the way, but
No, it's over on YouTube. They're saying it's so they're saying that they can hear me fine. So I guess it's all right. Go ahead and start talking, Popcorn.
So I'll land the plane here. So you can see proof of this within the FAA, where they turned down 1,000 applicants based solely on race. And one of the individuals who went through the actual school, and this was after post 2012, he scored a perfect all the way through school and was declined a position with the FAA. Why? Because he was the wrong skin color. So to say that DEI does not have anything to do with skin color and is based on merit is an absolute lie. That is proof of it right here. There's a lawsuit. Yes, there's a lawsuit.
You'd have to provide a source for that, because I don't believe that.
Yep, FAA embroiled in lawsuit alleging.
Give me the name of the lawsuit.
Okay, I'll pull up the
Honestly,
lawsuit.
it doesn't even matter what it is, because as my favorite Law of the Wild would say, anyone can sue anyone for anything at any time.
But if you score perfect all through
Okay,
school,
let's
and
talk
like
about
you're
it
the
after the
absolute
case.
perfect candidate, then
Let's talk about it after the case is found.
Only.
But Popcorn, I would like to provide you a source for a case that does relate to this conversation. It's California v. Bach, 1978, which made it all the way to the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court ruled that quotas may not be used to reserve places for minority applicants. Quotas have been illegal in this country since 1978. So what you just said should not even be possible.
Isn't Trump breaking the law right now, according to you guys?
At all times, he's actively at all times breaking the law.
There you go. So don't tell me that laws can't be broken.
as Trump breathes, he breaks
There you
laws.
go. So that makes that point void.
So then again, as case is, then let's wait for the case to go to court and see what they say, because anybody can sue anybody for anything at any time, right?
Well, the case
but
was dropped after they
but the
got
law
sued.
said, this is the thing, Popcorn. Excuse me. They've got you guys believing that all DEI is this quota system where they're saving spaces for blacks and Latinos and whoever. That's not true. Quotas are illegal. They're not doing that. Now, if some particular company might have a preference or whatever, good luck trying to prove that, right? But quotas are illegal. So you guys keep coming up here repeating that there is not based on merit, it's based on skin color. That is not true.
Right. So what's the point of DEI? I'm just curious.
Holy smokes! We've been talking about this for this long, as you don't even know what the point of DEI is.
Oh, I'm saying DEI is what you
DEIA.
would define or say DEI has already been in practice before 2012. What the problem is in 2012, this big, huge promotion of DEIA was latched onto affirmative action and other laws and other rights to I guess infect what was already in place, and that's exactly what DEI is. It's like a virus.
Yeah, it is absolutely not. You
It,
you are absolutely wrong. W's in the chat for Phil who sent
So what
a
does DEI
two
provide us?
W's in the chat for Phil who sent a $2 donation to say DEIA and government contracts is a part of recruitment practices, not contract compensation. You need to post a job to certain areas for the public, source for a certain number of days, and have practices that ensure that you don't discriminate, which gives a fair shot to all, not quotas. W's in the chat for Phil for that. Also, Echo had her hand up. Echo, go. And also, W's in the chat for Godzilla. I'm sorry, you said Santana speaks and not Santana speakers. It's late, friend. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Echo.
Yeah, real quick, if you could tell me what DEI does. What's the point of it?
Popcorn,
exactly what it,
So we've
could
told
you
you
just
that like
mute?
86 times. So I'm not going to go through that again.
But that was already existing before
But
2012. Everything that you said already existed before 2012. So what does DEI now, according to
How
after
long
post
has
2012?
DEIA been around? Do you think DEIA only came around in
Well, technically, it
2012?
started in the '60s, but it
But what are we talking about? Popcorn?
it was
and
amplified or changed
it
in
wasn't changed.
2012.
It wasn't changed. So here's the answer to your
It
question, and please
was
don't ask it again. Right? It's an extension of affirmative action. There are differences between the two. DEI does many things. It does some of the things that affirmative action does, but then it also provides for training within companies and corporations or whatever, so people from different cultures or whatever can understand each other better and not accidentally put out microaggressions and different things like that. There's many different layers of what DEI actually does and how corporations use it, right? But it does exactly what it says. It provides for diversity, equity, and inclusion and accessibility everywhere, so that if in fact you meet the qualifications, regardless of who you are, what culture you're from, or what you look like, if you meet the qualifications, you should get a shot. That's what DEI says and does.
it protects things like women who try to get employed during pregnancy. And upon seeing that they are pregnant, their qualifications no longer matter. That is one. That what I wanted to respond to was your point about the FAA and ask you if you've ever hired anyone, do you only look at whether they have a perfect score? Or do you look at things like how they present in an interview, whether they're going to get along well with the team members in the area in which they're applying? There are so many factors that go into hiring that a perfect score does not guarantee you employment. And people that are saying as such actually would be a red flag to me as somebody who hires people.
all right. So
Yeah. Hold on,
yesterday,
Popcorn. I have
go
a
ahead.
question for you.
Yeah.
Popcorn, what does DEIA do?
DEI, what it should do.
No. What does DEIA do?
So DEI, basically, from my experience,
No. What does DEIA do?
it cripples companies. Is basically.
Fuck out of here.
He cannot be taught. Like
He's like this every time, so willfully ignorant. And I mean, the amount of like education, I'm just glad that, for the 700 other people here and some of them that don't really understand the difference between affirmative action and DEIA were getting that knowledge, because it definitely wasn't, hitting his kernel brain. But one of the biggest things is literally the training programs that it gives already existing employees as well.
absolutely.
And that's where the basis of the people I meet come from, are people who haven't abided by those training policies and have done the things like Hawk said with the microaggressions and the, just absolute, poor behavior. And then they have to come and see someone like me and or lose their job and, try to learn outside of themselves, which they don't want to do. So
Okay, how I wish
And
we
hey,
could invite
just
you to County Kauai Chambers, where I got called a little woman like 5 times in the
oh
last
wow.
legislative hearing.
I still get that.
Yeah, I
And
love it.
also for anyone over on YouTube wondering what happened, Popcorn got cooked. He got cooked and he got kicked. He got cooked, kicked, and now he's out of here. So that's what happened over on the YouTubes. So I'm sorry. Hey, Ryan, what does DEIA do?
It tries to create more diversity in the workplace, from what I understand it.
Is it based off of race?
And create. It's based off of like multiple. Could be handicapped, race, ethnicity, country of origin.
So it gives
Gender.
people that are, handicapped or black or, disabled or black or whatever, it gives them jobs?
In a way, yeah.
Fuck out of here. You weren't paying attention either. Jeez Louise. All right. It's t-shirt time. I don't know if everybody could tell, but it's definitely t-shirt time. Echo, any last words from you, my friend?
No, just thank you for having me on. I appreciated meeting you guys. I haven't ever seen Kay in a debate. That was cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, usually
Thank you.
she's fussing at me on the back end. Boom. Thank you, Echo, for coming up. I appreciate you so much.
I just want to say I am so thankful that she joined us tonight. I just really, 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 really super glad that.
Thank you for the star map.
They were there tonight, helping move along that conversation because it was rough with two people who seemed like brick walls.
At least Ryan just kind of hung out and not said anything. Ryan just like
Ryan got a little scared.
waited in the
I might have
corner.
mentioned how 170 pounds of substance may or may not also be
I caught that,
an
by the
illegal
way.
choice, but people still go about doing that. So,
Yeah.
I think he kind of clammed up after that.
Hawk, any last words from you?
I'm going to say it. I'm getting tired of these conversations.
Really? Why so?
They're not going to get it. They don't want to get it.
No, they don't.
They're living.
I don't know how we ended up here tonight, Hawk. Like, this was not the conversation.
I know. But that's the other thing, because that's the conversation they want. Again, sore winners, if there is such a thing. That's part of it, right? It's just, for whatever reason, the timeline that they're living in, this is exactly how it's supposed to be. So I don't know if we'll ever get through to a lot of them. I want to say most, but I'm going to be nice and say a lot of them. And it's almost not even worth it anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought that, we were actually going to have like a real conversation getting into like the actual, like, it's been some wild stuff that's happening and we just went around everything. I don't know. It's late. All right. That's all I got. Kay, last words?
I do get tired of the conversations. I mean, because they're so repetitive, but also I think it's only tiring when it's the same people that we try to have the conversations with. And it would be nice if new people would come in that are, quote unquote, excited about the way that, the country's moving and have newer conversations. But, like we spent, last week, like over the weekend and the beginning of the week, talking about like the economy and sparring and everything, like, and they just keep moving the goalposts no matter what. So it's and like even tonight, I know, like, I know you were trying to give grace to him saying like let's wait and see what really happened, but that in return has never been the case. So I think it's important that like we stop maybe giving a voice to the people we've talked to numerous times who we know are just going to be, like infuriating to deal with and not really learn, and have more conversations about the things we can do to change things. And, hopefully next week's topic will be one that leaves the politics at the door and lets us all kind of just talk about, humanity and people and all that good intersectional stuff.
Yep. Yep. Next week will be a lot of fun. Yep.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna go
So
ahead and get
great.
out of here. Yeah, it is. It is. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here, guys. I'm excited. I'm happy to be back. I miss you guys so much. It's been a heck of a night. You all have been absolutely amazing. I love. Why did Kay leave? Really, Kay? I absolutely love you guys so much. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out. We're gonna go raid Comrade B. We're gonna go raid Comrade B over on the TikToks. If you can see on the screen, it says comrade.bb. We're gonna go raid comrade.bb. Santana raid Santana. Wait, did she just get off? I think she just got off.
She usually ends the same time you do, so.
C'est la vie.
Sorry.
We'll have to catch a B another time then. All right. Yeah.
Find
Go
your
find
favorites
somebody.
and
Yeah.
go show them some support.
Exactly. Just go everywhere. Santana Raid, just go to every, matter of fact, go into everybody's live, literally everybody's live, and just say Santana Raid. I don't care which live you go to. Just as a matter of fact, I need everyone to get off of this live and go into any and everyone's live. She's not live anymore. Go into any and everyone's live and just put spam Santana Raid. I don't care which live you go in.
Oh,
Find
Ty,
someone who has
well,
like.
hold on. Ty just came up. Comrade just rated Carbon.gg.
Yeah, but Carbon is doing well, and so that's why I wanted to send somebody who was like not really. Yeah, go raid Carbon. How about that? Let's go raid Carbon. And he's on his and he's on Carbon Says. Carbon Says.
Carbon Says. Sorry, not Carbon GG. Carbon
Yeah,
Says.
let's go to Carbon Says and spam L Carbon. Like that's what we're gonna do. Spam L Carbon. Don't even put Santana raid. Just spam L Carbon. We're gonna raid Carbon and just put a bunch of L Carbons, or put African.
Do you know how to be nice?
Put African.
Absolutely not.
I'm gonna go call him a African. This is how I be nice. I'm gonna go call him a African.
Santana, I'd like to invite you to next week's topic on intersectionality.
Listen, I'm not in the future like you. Today is today. Until as a wise person once told me, I can't even remember what you said. I'm too tired. I'll mess up the quote. Anyway.
Okay. Good night.
All right. I love you guys. Thank you all for being here. Everybody, Hawk K said with me as always. Peace.
Carbon Says.